नमस्कार देवियों और सज्जनों, ग्रामीण भारत महोत्सव के इस अभूतपूर्व अवसर पर मैं यहाँ उपस्थित सभी सम्माननीय अतिथियों का स्वागत करता हूँ, अभिनंदन करता हूँ. Today we have a very interesting and informative panel discussion on GI products, cultural pride to prosperity. GI उत्पाद, सांस्कृतिक गर्व से समृद्धि तक. Geographical indication या GI सिर्फ एक सर्टिफिकेट मात्र नहीं है, ये हमारे सांस्कृतिक और प्राकृतिक धरोहर के लिए एक गर्व का चिन्ह है, एक गर्व का प्रतीक है. And I am very happy to inform that NABARD has been a trailblazer in the GI ecosystem and possesses a comprehensive policy for supporting GI promotion in the country. Today's session promises to be especially enriching as we will hear inspiring success stories of GI products, as well as we will discuss how they can drive startups and promote regional and rural tourism. So without further ado, we are going to start the session, and I will be welcoming introducing our panel of esteemed members today. So with a huge round of applause, please welcome Shri Karan Thapar, Director at Department of Industry and International Trade. He is an IRS officer of 2009 batch who has been contributing immensely in creating an ecosystem to foster greater generation of IPRs in the country. I would now like to welcome, with another huge round of applause, Dr. Rajani Kant, Padma Shri Awardee and GI expert from Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. He is affectionately called as the GI Man of India. Now let us please welcome Shri Sohit Kumar Prajapati, National Awardee Artisan who revived the dying art of black pottery. Please welcome Professor Abhijit Das, International Trade Policy and WTO expert. Professor Das has 25 years of experience, including felicitating the GI registration of around 20 products. Our next speaker is Shri Athina Chauhai, an alumnus of IIM Ranchi. Shri Chauhai is the CEO of Namsai Organic Spices and Agricultural Products Producer Company. Next, I welcome to the stage Shri K. Ganesh Moorthy, an agricultural engineering graduate and CEO of the Madurai Agri-Business Incubation Forum. Our final panelist is Ms. Meenakshi Mehta, a communications and storytelling professional. Ms. Mehta spearheads the Kala Srishti project, which celebrates Indian artisans and promotes their craft through modern strategies and collaboration. And last but not the least, now I invite Shri Partho Saha, Chief General Manager at NABARD, and also our esteemed moderator for this panel discussion. Mr. Saha, in his 36 years of experience, has played a pivotal role in promoting GI registrations, especially in Arunachal Pradesh, where 18 products were registered during his tenure. A very warm welcome to our panelist and our moderator. It is now my honor to invite our esteemed keynote speaker for today's event, Shri Karan Thapar ji, to please grace the stage and impart his valuable insights and words of wisdom. Please, sir. May we please have a round of applause?
Good afternoon, everyone. And I think, first of all, many thanks to NABARD and Department of Financial Services for firstly organizing this wonderful initiative, the Grameen Bharat Mahotsav, and also sort of giving the space to GI products, giving the importance it deserves, and organizing this session, and also calling me over to grace the occasion. Thank you so much. Well, I think most of us are pretty much aware of what a GI tag is or what a geographical indication is. Therefore, I'll not sort of go into the basics. I suppose everyone has a fair understanding of why we give products a specific geographical indication tag, what it bestows. But just to start off, as to, these products have existed for centuries. Most of the products that we see today are very unique products to those specific regions, which have been preserved by the local population, the artisans, the farming community, the producers, for years and years. However, when we look at the concept of geographical indication, this is a very recent concept in the Indian ecosystem. And since I represent the department which sort of administers the legal protection system of GIs, I think this is a key theme which I wanted to touch upon as I start this session, and as I sort of share my experiences over the last few years, that I think these are very early times. This is a very early stage for India with the concept of GI, because it's only been 2 decades since we have since we sort of started with the GI legislation. After accession to TRIPS, the GI Act came into force in 2003, and our products really started seeking protection only subsequently thereafter. So what does a GI tag does, or what really are the benefits of seeking GI protection for beneficiaries or for producers and artisans? So that's where I think the understanding of intellectual property right system is slightly important, because this is again a form of intellectual property right. It is a legal right which is bestowed upon a community, a set of producers, and it's a unique intellectual property right, because it's not an individual right per se, it is a community right. While all our other rights which we see as, for example, if I am an inventor, I'll seek protection for my invention as a patent. If I am a business, I will seek trademark protection. If I am an artist, I'll go for copyright protection. If I am a designer, I'll go for design protection. But here, there might be something of everything. There might be, some form of innovation. There might be some form of design. There might be some form of artistry in a GI product. So it encapsulates actually multiple rights in a way. However, I mean, I'll not get too technical here, but just to make it very simple, this is an intellectual property. Therefore, not anyone or everyone can use it unless you are sort of part of that ecosystem. And that's the uniqueness, or that's the exclusivity which these unique products enjoy. There are certain criteria that are followed for sort of administering and bestowing this right, bestowing this legal right on producer community. So a product must classify as unique, must have some unique characteristics which are associated with the geographical region. It must be able to demonstrate the association with that region, and that's why it's a long process. And today there are only 620 Indian products, despite the legislation being in place for more than 2 decades. There are only 620 products which are today, as on today, registered as geographical indications. While if we'll compare this with many other countries, the numbers would be very, very starkly in contrast, and and we might see that there's a long way for us to go. For example, China has around nearly 10,000 GIs, 9,700 odd GIs. Germany has around 7,000 plus. Hungary has, again, 7 to 8,000 GIs. So the concept of GI in itself, I think, was has been mastered, I would say, by EU, European Union countries, both the Western European as well as Eastern European countries, and has since then traveled across the world as to what is the advantage of giving this exclusive right to a set of producers, and how it can then translate into commercial and economic benefits for the community. And that's where the theme of today's discussion is. I think the very theme is from cultural pride to economic prosperity. And I think this is the journey that we need to traverse now when it comes to GIs. While we are very rich in terms of our culture, in terms of our heritage, in terms of our diversity, if you see, even if you see among 600 odd products, you will see that there is a fairly good distribution of all forms of products. We have more than 200 agricultural products, for instance. We have around 350 handicrafts, handlooms and textiles. We have about 50 foodstuffs, like for instance your sweets, your savory snacks, so on and so forth. We have more than 50 manufactured items, which are mostly foreign wines and spirits. There are around 38 foreign products, so 620 Indian and 38 foreign GI products, totaling 658 as of today. So you see a good diversity across all forms of products. You also see a very good geographical diversity, in fact. For example, I think Uttar Pradesh is the maximum. It has 74 products today as registered as GIs. But then other states have also done very well. For example, Maharashtra has done very well. Similarly, Tamil Nadu has done very well. Karnataka is there, Assam is there. These are among the top 5. So again, you can see that there is a good geographical mix here. You have Assam in the north representing the northeast. You have Karnataka and Tamil Nadu in the south. You have Maharashtra in the west. Arunachal has recently got 18 products. In fact, the northeastern region itself is coming up very well. There are a lot of many products which are now sort of very keen to seek protection of GIs. And I think while the concept in itself is working well, I mean, there have been many efforts that have been undertaken by all departments, including DPIIT, but many other departments, to sort of increase awareness, increase outreach, help in facilitate in the application process, because it is, as I mentioned initially, it's a legal right. Therefore, it is an entire legal process that is followed, which is a pretty lengthy process, starting from filing of the application to necessary documentation being provided, followed by examination and opposition proceedings. So it's a pretty lengthy process, and often we in the department and the GI registry are at the receiving end, that applications remain pending for years together. But that's also because there is necessity of the due diligence that has to be carried out. Not all products can be sort of by the brush of stroke classified as a GI. Otherwise, the value that a GI tag can provide to a product will then dilute. Therefore, we need to ensure that only qualitative products get this tag, and that's why this due diligence is necessary. That's why this documentation is necessary, and often there is a lot of hand holding that needs to be carried out as well with the producers and artisans. So just very quickly, what do we think as the benefits largely? While obviously one can immediately relate to the cultural part of it, that it helps sort of revive lost arts, it helps in protecting our traditional roots, our traditional knowledge. But at the same time, I think for a country like India, it is very important because this is largely a sector which is labor intensive. It allows the traditional artisans to recuperate and recover the cost of all their labor. So it helps them get the best value for their product. That's why often wherever you have a strong GI ecosystem, you see that it leads to rural prosperity. It leads to betterment of artisans, local population there, because the GI tag in itself brings premium value. While in India it has, been limited to a few products for now. If we see there are many success stories. Obviously, everyone knows of Darjeeling. In fact, the Darjeeling tea is not just famous for the tea itself; it's also famous for its beautiful scenic location as well. And that's where the GI products often attract a lot of tourism as well. Obviously, Basmati is again a very, very famous GI product that is doing very well. It is the highest export turnover among all products. But then among the other products also, we see that there are many products which have come up. For instance, if I look at the northern region, obviously Kashmir has a lot of unique products, be it your pashmina, be it the saffron, be it the, I think there is the paper mache technique. Then there are many shawls in the Himachal region. Down south, you have a lot of spices. The southern belt is always known for, the Malabar region is always known for as a spice belt of India. But other smaller states are also coming up and doing very well. The less industrialized states, for instance, which have been slightly behind the curve, are now picking up. So you have a lot of products which are coming from the eastern belt, states of Bihar, Jharkhand, for example. Mithila Makhana has done very well from the region of Bihar. Lychee, again, Shahi Lychee. Kala Namak rice, for instance. And so on and so forth. Another sort of important area in the GI ecosystem is the tea and beverages. So the Araku coffee case study is again a very successful example of how to sort of drive maximum commercial value. In fact, it figured in the PM's Man Ki Baat program as well, and it has gained a lot of traction recently. These are some successful case studies. Obviously, there can be more, and that's where I think departments like DPIIT, Department of Financial Services, NABARD, Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Skill, all of us need to sort of put our act together and see what are the steps and initiatives that are required. Apart from the ones that we are already taking, I think there is a need for more synergy, there's a need for more collaboration, and that's where the department is looking at framing a specific, carving out a specific GI policy. Right now we have obviously the IPR policy, we have a very strong and robust IPR ecosystem. However, we feel that over the last decade, the kind of importance that has been given, let's say, to patents and trademarks, the GI policy would also make if we come out with a dedicated GI policy and enumerate the different sort of challenges that we are facing and what steps need to be taken, the same dedicated attention would be sort of paid to the GI ecosystem. And the GI policy would largely address the challenges. For instance, quality and authentication of GIs is a significant challenge that we face today. While many products are authentic, original, there are a lot of many the counterfeit products which are sold or passed off as GIs. This becomes a significant challenge both for the producers, the artisans, as well as the consumers, because you end up getting defrauded with counterfeit products. And I think I would have to admit that there is a slight vacuum in this space, in our legal and policy space, when it comes to requirement of certification, requirement of quality benchmarking by GI producers. If we compare our system with, let's say, international systems such as the EU system, or for instance, even in the Latin American countries, let's say EU might be sort of not the correct example, given that it's far ahead on the development curve. But even Latin American countries have built in more checks and balances in their system compared to what we have. Therefore, we have been doing an exhaustive assessment of what are those steps that need to be taken. We are in consultation, extensive consultations with several government departments. It would also probably require some changes and amendments in the GI legal framework, the GI Act, and that's where we are also deliberating. And in fact, there is already a draft bill that we propose to send to the Parliament shortly after the internal consultation process is complete. So these are some of the key initiatives that we are looking in the legal and policy space. Other than this, I think we in the department already have launched a GI promotional policy through which we have been collaborating with several media houses for better promotion and brand building of GIs. In fact, recently, if some of you travel on the Delhi metro, you may have seen some GI sort of advertisements in the metro, on the airports. We've been collaborating with all these agencies, especially in different airports across the country, to provide GI branding and build this increasing GI consciousness amongst the community and the society at large, because we need to see that we have a large domestic market as well, and only when we have a strong domestic demand will we also be able to cater to the international demand. So those market linkages are being established both domestically as well as sort of we are in constant touch and discussions with our international trading partners through international trade agreements, and even otherwise. Sometimes international trade agreement negotiations can be long and lengthy, may take a long lot of time to materialize, but we have MOU arrangements with several countries through which we are looking at identifying market linkages for our GI products. I briefly touched upon the GI tourism example. I think if one looks at successful case stories worldwide, you would see that wherever the GI ecosystem sort of builds in, you automatically also get a lot more prosperity, and not prosperity not just because of the product, but the entire ecosystem grows. I took the example of, for example, Darjeeling, but if one travels, internationally, one would often go to vineyards in the EU, in the European region, or go if some of you have traveled to the UK, one always often goes to Scotland and you know would like to see the Scotch whiskey and how it is grown or how it is manufactured. Sorry, not grown. So I think there are again lessons to be learned from those successful examples. There is a lot of heritage that we can display, exhibit. It's just about, I think, getting all the different players together. Such initiatives always help, and therefore I think we look forward to working and collaborating more with all the departments and taking this GI concept, which is a niche concept, it is still sort of taking roots, but it requires a lot of hand-holding for it to flourish. And the department is definitely very, very conscious of it. There are, as I mentioned about the schemes, for instance, as I mentioned about the promotional avenues, you might be very shortly, some of you may have sort of tuned into the MasterChef India show. We have recently collaborated with Sony Live, who are the producers of this show. So now in the upcoming series, you will see dedicated GI branding and the contestants actually using different GI products with which they will be making their different recipes. So many a times, you know, we might be using the same products. The idea behind that is that we might be using those same products while in the kitchen. For example, many men and women here might be cooking with, for example, the clove or the turmeric or the lychee, without realizing that these are, you know, coming from a specific region and have a GI value. We procure them without really knowing about it. We don't procure it from the right source, and that's where the counterfeiting element also comes into question. I can go on and on. I think I had a long speech which I had been provided with, but I don't see the need for me to sort of read out. So I think it's more an interactive session. I think I also am here to listen to the thoughts of all the esteemed panelists. And also, if there are any questions, please feel free to address them to me or to anyone here on the dais. It is my pleasure really to be in this panel discussion and in this interaction, and I look forward to having meaningful conversations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for generously sharing your profound knowledge with us. GI tourism, definitely that caught our attention. Now I am going to hand over the stage to our distinguished moderator for the day, Shri Partho Saha, sir. Sir, the stage is all yours.
Hello, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thapar. I think you have set the tone and covered almost every aspect of GI that we were looking to cover. In fact, you may have even put a few of our speakers in a spot of bother. Nonetheless, this was what we were looking forward to. We have with us another very distinguished person, Padma Shri Dr. Rajani ji, and coming to the theme for today, GI, Cultural Pride to Prosperity. Obviously, we are interested in the prosperity part, being a financial institution. But before we go on to the prosperity part, I would like Dr. Rajani to talk about how GI actually helps to uphold the cultural pride, whether it is for the nation or the community. The importance that GI plays. We hear a lot nowadays about Sanskritik, Dharohar, Virasat and all these words. So, Dr. Rajani ji, you come from a very famous place which is known for its cultural heritage. So I feel that you can tell us about how you got attracted to GI and what it means for you. Thanks.
सबसे पहले तो नाबार्ड को बहुत धन्यवाद कि इस राष्ट्रीय स्तर के बड़े आयोजन के लिए यहाँ पे लगभग इस हॉल में मोर देन 150 GI अक्रॉस द कंट्री हैं। और जैसा आपने कहा, हम जिस शहर से, हम काशी से हैं और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री भी काशी से हैं। वो काशी से सांसद हुए तो देश के वो प्रधानमंत्री हुए। और काशी का जो इतिहास है वो 5000 साल से भी अधिक पुराना है। फ्रेज में कहा जाता है कि बियॉन्ड द हिस्ट्री। भगवान शंकर की नगरी है तो उसका कोई इतिहास है नहीं, इसीलिए कहा गया बियॉन्ड द हिस्ट्री। दूसरा, जब हम प्राइड की बात कर रहे हैं तो जीआई को हम एक दूसरे नजरिए से देखते हैं। जीआई भारत की वो सोने की चिड़िया है जिसे लूटने के लिए 2500 साल पहले से प्रयास शुरू हुआ। अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे इतिहास की किताबों में पढ़ाया गया अलेक्जेंडर द ग्रेट, यह बाद में फिर बताया गया कि अकबर द ग्रेट। वो लुटेरा कैसे महान हो सकता है जो इस भारत भूमि की सोने की चिड़िया को लूटने आया हो, जिसने लूटा हो यहां पे आकर के। तो अलेक्जेंडर को तो उसी समय चाणक्य ने परास्त करके और वापस भेज दिया। और चाणक्य ने राजाओं का सहयोग नहीं लिया था। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी जब कहते हैं आदिवासी, वनवासी, कोल, भील, जनजाति, चाणक्य ने उन्हीं का सहारा लिया था। या दूसरा, वेद पाठी ब्राह्मण घोड़े की नंगी पीठ पर बैठ करके हाथ में तलवार लेकर के उनका गर्दन काटने का काम किए थे। तब वहां की जनता में जागृति आई थी कि जिसको हम सवेरे भिक्षा देते हैं और हमारी भिक्षा पे उसका भोजन चलता है, वो वेद पढ़ता है, वो अगर हमारे लिए संघर्ष करता है, क्योंकि राष्ट्र सबसे पहले है। तो ये जो जीआई जो कल्चरल प्राइड के साथ जुड़ा हुआ है वो भारत की आत्मा है। पूरी दुनिया में भारत के मुकाबले कभी भी न कोई सिल्क रहा है, न कोई टेक्सटाइल रहा है, न कोई यॉन रहा है। शुरू में यवन, तुर्क से लेकर मुगल जितना लूटे, जो नहीं लूट पाए वो देवी देवताओं की मूर्तियों को छत विछत करके गए, क्योंकि वो ले नहीं जा सकते थे। आप किसी म्यूजियम में एंटर करिए, आपको गर्दन टूटी मिलेगी, वक्ष कटे मिलेंगे, हाथ टूटे मिलेंगे, क्योंकि वो ले नहीं जा सकते थे। लेकिन जो ले जाना था वो लूट के लेके गए। लेकिन हम आभारी हैं उन शिल्पियों के, बुनकरों के, फार्मर्स के, प्रोड्यूसर्स के, जिन्होंने हजारों साल से उस विरासत को आज भी बचा के रखा। हमें बड़ा गर्व हुआ क्या जब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के हाथ में नाबार्ड के चेयरमैन ने वांचो वुड क्राफ्ट का मोमेंटो भेंट किया। आज के पहले तक हमें लग रहा है कि बहुत लोगों को शब्द भी नहीं सुने होंगे कि वांचो क्या होता है। निशी, आपातानी, मोनपा, गालो नाम ही नहीं सुने। ये अरुणाचल प्रदेश की वो पवित्र भूमि है जहां 27 ट्राइब और 72 सब ट्राइब्स है। यहां पे भी थापर जी ने कहा ना, अब यहां पर दो, एक तो DPIIT है जो एक लीड एजेंसी है जीआई के लिए, IPR के लिए, और दूसरा हमने जिसके साथ में बैठ करके जीआई सीखा है वो प्रोफेसर अभिजीत दास यहां बैठे हुए हैं। अंकटाड का भारत के अंदर में जब उदय हुआ, यूनाइटेड नेशन कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन ट्रेड एंड डेवलपमेंट, WTO के एग्रीमेंट पे साइन करने के बाद, और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स के साथ में जब MOU साइन हुआ DFID का, उसमें अंकटाड ने अपना ऑफिस यहां पे ओपन किया। कुछ समय के बाद में प्रोफेसर दास को कंट्री हेड की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सौंपी गई, और हमारे जैसे एक सामान्य सामाजिक कार्यकर्ता को बनारस की साड़ी को बचाने के लिए इन्होंने कहा कि जीआई तो कराना पड़ेगा, और अगर जीआई कराना होगा तो अंकटाड के साथ में आना होगा, क्योंकि उस समय तक तो कोई ग्रांट की बात करता नहीं था। और हमें कहने में गर्व है कि शुरुआत के समय में बनारस की साड़ी, भदोही की कारपेट और चांपा सिल्क साड़ी एंड फैब्रिक छत्तीसगढ़, इस 3 के अंकटाड ने सपोर्ट किया। तो विरासत को बचाने का दूसरा कल्चरल प्राइड की हम बात कर रहे हैं। शायद इस हाल में बैठे हुए लोग या बाहर के लोग भी नहीं जानते होंगे, स्वर्गीय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी के हम आभारी हैं। ये देश ऋणी है उनका कि उनके रिजीम में भारत में जीआई का कानून बना, उनके रिजीम में बना। शायद उनके जैसे संवेदनशील व्यक्ति नहीं रहे होते तो शायद ये कानून नहीं बना होता, था ही नहीं कानून, और इंप्लीमेंट भी उनके रिजिम में हुआ। शुरुआती समय में स्पीड काफी कम रही है। हमारे जैसे लोग भी जब 2007 में पहली एप्लीकेशन फाइल की बनारसी साड़ी को, तो बनारस में बहुत विरोध हुआ हमारा, बड़े बड़े ट्रेडर्स ने विरोध किया, प्राइम मिनिस्टर को, यूपीए चेयरपर्सन को, टेक्सटाइल मिनिस्टर को लेटर हमारे खिलाफ में लिखा गया। कोई डॉक्टर रजनीकांत टू टेकिंग दिस बनारस साड़ी फॉर द पेटेंट, उनको जीआई शब्द भी मालूम नहीं था। लेकिन जीआई रजिस्ट्री ने हमसे कहा था कि आपकी एप्लीकेशन की मेरिट स्ट्रांग है, आपको डरने की जरूरत नहीं है। और जीआई रजिस्ट्री पहली बार चेन्नई से बाहर निकल करके वाराणसी में सीजीएम हुआ, हियरिंग हुई वाराणसी में, और जीआई ग्रांट हुआ 2009 में। वो हौसला बढ़ा। कल्चरल प्राइड को बचाते बचाते हमारे जैसे लोग काशी से काला पानी तक की यात्रा किए। रिसेंटली अंडमान एंड निकोबार से 7 जीआई ग्रांट हुआ है नाबार्ड के सपोर्ट से, और नाबार्ड अब जीआई में फ्रंट पे आके खेल रहा है। जो क्रिकेट का मैच है ना 2020 वाला, अब वो नाबार्ड फ्रंट पे आके खेल रहा है 2020। अब उसका कहना है कि हमारी स्पीड रुकने वाली नहीं है। इस हाल के अंदर में जो जीआई लगे हुए हैं उसमें 132 जीआई नाबार्ड सपोर्टेड हैं। यह गर्व की बात है। और हम इस हाल में उस कल्चरल प्राइड को बचाने के लिए एक और शब्द बोल के आज जाएंगे। 1 साल के बाद ये संख्या लगभग 250 होगी, 250 होगा। ये विरासत को बचाने का जो सिलसिला शुरू हुआ, वो सिलसिला चाहे मेघालय में चूबची, हम बार बार बोलते हैं, शैंपेन की बात बोलते हैं, स्कॉच की बात बोलते हैं, हमारे यहां भी मरुआ मिलेट की वाइन को जीआई मिला, आदि अपांग को जीआई मिला, मेघालय के चूबच्ची को जीआई मिला, गारो डकमांडा को जीआई मिला, लर्नई पॉटरी को जीआई मिला। यहां त्रिपुरा का रीसा, पचरा, माताबारी पेड़ा, या सभी लोग बात करते हैं ना कश्मीर की जब बात होगी पश्मीना कश्मीर, उस मिथ को ब्रेक किया गया। कश्मीर में जितना पुराना पश्मीना है उतना ही पुराना पश्मीना जम्मू रीजन में बसोहली में है, कठुआ के पास में। आज माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को बसोहली वाला पश्मीना ही भेंट किया गया था, या बसोहली की पेंटिंग यहां पे आई हुई है। जो लोग आईएएस की तैयारी करते हैं वो जीके में पढ़ते हैं बसोहली पेंटिंग बारे में, 16वीं सेंचुरी की पेंटिंग है। ये विरासत है, और इसी विरासत को बचाने और बढ़ाने का काम जो नाबार्ड ने शुरू किया, वो सिर्फ कल्चरल प्राइड के साथ जुड़ा हुआ नहीं है, वो सीधे लिंक है लाइवलीहुड से, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप से, स्किल डेवलपमेंट से। क्योंकि नाबार्ड भारत की एकमात्र ऐसी संस्था है जिसकी अपनी नेशनल जीआई पॉलिसी है, जीआई एंड पोस्ट जीआई। जीआई के रजिस्ट्रेशन के बाद अथवा यूजर करना, आगे बढ़ना, मार्केटिंग करना, ब्रांडिंग करना, प्रमोशन करना, एमईडीपी, एलईबीटीपी, नैब स्किल, ढेर सारे प्रोग्राम के साथ में लिंक है। तो ये जो कल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस था, जो सोने की चिड़िया को हमने 2500 पहले से बचाने का प्रयास करते आ गए, अभी उसको लीगल आइडेंटिटी मिल गई। बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि जीआई सरकार की कोई स्कीम है। जीआई भारत के पार्लियामेंट से पास किया हुआ कानून है। कोई भी सरकार आएगी, कोई भी सरकार जाएगी, कानून को नहीं कोई बदल सकता है। ये कानून है, और ये कानून किसका है? कम्युनिटी प्रॉपर्टी। जीआई इज ए कम्युनिटी प्रॉपर्टी। पेटेंट, ट्रेडमार्क, कॉपीराइट, इंडस्ट्रियल डिजाइन, डिजाइन सीक्रेट, दीज ऑल आर द इंडिविजुअल प्रॉपर्टी। ये व्यक्ति की संपत्ति है, बट द जीआई इज ए कम्युनिटी प्रॉपर्टी। वो किसी व्यक्ति की संपत्ति नहीं। लखनऊ की चिकनकारी किसकी संपत्ति है? पोचमपल्ली एकत किसकी संपत्ति है? कांजीवरम किसकी संपत्ति है? मैसूर सिल्क, ये सारी कम्युनिटी की प्रॉपर्टी है। तो कम्युनिटी की प्रॉपर्टी को उनकी डिग्निटी के साथ जोड़ना। हमें याद है कि डीपीआईटी ने 5-6 साल पहले से जीआई के प्रमोशन में बड़ा एग्रेसिव स्टेप लिया। एग्जीबिशन, मार्केटिंग, प्रमोशन। इसी हाल में पिछले साल डीपीआईटी के सपोर्ट से 300+ जीआई के स्टॉल लगाए गए थे। और इस बार अभी डीपीआईटी के सपोर्ट से बर्लिन में, लंदन में और इटली में 3 जगह इंटरनेशनल एक्सपोजर आर्टिजन्स को दिया गया। और हमें कहने में गर्व है कि 35 साल से नीचे के आर्टिजन सभी उसमें 7 आर्टिजन सेलेक्ट करके गए, जिसमें पिथौरागढ़ से बेरीनाग चाय का भी लड़का गया जिसने आने के बाद कंसाइनमेंट बेचा। अभी हम लोग चाय की बात करते हैं, अभी बात हम लोग कर रहे थे दार्जिलिंग से लेकर सारे जगह की। हम थापर जी से आग्रह करेंगे कि यहां से निकलने के बाद सिंगफो टी यहां पे आई हुई है, अरुणाचल प्रदेश की। शायद इस हाल में भी बैठे हुए लोगों ने 2-4 लोगों को छोड़ करके उस चाय को भी देखा नहीं होगा। सिंगफो टी है क्या? वो चाय की लीफ नहीं है खाली। आपको जान के आश्चर्य होगा कि 4 साल पुरानी अगर जो उनकी चाय उसका प्राइस इतना है, 3 साल पुरानी जो उसका प्राइस इतना है, और वो है यहां पे इनके पास में सिंगफो टी। तो ये हमारे लिए आज की तारीख में न ये गवर्नमेंट की स्कीम है, न कोई फैशन की चीज है। ये चीज है लोगों की डिग्निटी के साथ साथ में एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप से जुड़ा हुआ सवाल है। वांचो वुड कार्विंग की इतनी डिमांड हो रही है। डीपीआईटी ने जब यहां पे G20 का सम्मेलन हुआ था, उसमें 20 लोगों को, 20 टॉप डिग्निटरीज को वांचो वुड कार्विंग दी गई थी। उसका अलग था ही नहीं वो। अभी बीच में माननीय पीयूष गोयल जी जब विजिट किए थे अरुणाचल प्रदेश को, वहां के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री ने वांचो वुड कार्विंग उनको भेंट किया था। और आज चेयरमैन साहब ने अपने हाथ से वांचो वुड कार्विंग को, हमारे बगल में एक सज्जन बैठे तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये तो आइवरी जैसा लग रहा है देखने में। ये कल्पना के परे है कि उतने रिमोट एरिया में, लेकिन अभी हमें आने वाले समय में इसको बहुत ही ऑर्गेनाइज्ड वे में लेकर के जाना है। हम जब सवाल जवाब के शुरू होंगे तो हम उस पर चर्चा करेंगे कि नाबार्ड को कैसे आने वाले समय में इस पर एक रोड मैप बनाना होगा, क्योंकि नाबार्ड ही एक ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जिसके भारत के सारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में अपनी उनकी प्रेजेंस है, हर जिले में है, और जिले के बाद में गांव में उनके एसएचजी हैं, एफपीओ हैं। तो आपको ट्रांसफर करने में, पर्कुलेट करने में, लेके जाने में कहीं कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। और सारे भारत सरकार के डिपार्टमेंट नाबार्ड के साथ में, जैसे कुछ समय पहले हमारी एग्रीकल्चर सेक्रेटरी साहब के साथ मीटिंग हुई और हमने उनसे कहा कि आप नाबार्ड के साथ में कोलैबोरेट करिए एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए, जीआई के लिए, पोस्ट जीआई के लिए, मार्केटिंग के लिए, ब्रांडिंग के लिए। बोले हमको आइडेंटिफाई करने में दिक्कत हो तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी। नाबार्ड है वहां पे, उसका एफपीओ है वहां पे, उसके एसएचजीज है। जैसे त्रिपुरा में हुआ, एसएचजी का क्लस्टर था, उसने फाइल किया। तो ये पूरा एक सेटअप ऑर्गेनाइज्ड वे में है और टाइम फ्रेम है, समयबद्ध एकदम है। हमें गर्व कहने में हमारे 2 डीएमडी साहब यहां पे बैठे हुए हैं। एक सीजीएम थे महाराष्ट्र में और दूसरे सीजीएम थे जम्मू में। हमें दोनों लोगों के साथ काम करने का अवसर मिला। दोनों जगह जीआई फाइल हुए, दोनों जगह जीआई ग्रांट हुए, और दोनों राज्यों से। जम्मू में कोई भी जीआई नहीं था, कोई इंडिपेंडेंट जीआई जम्मू में नहीं था। नाबार्ड के सपोर्ट से पहली बार 7 जीआई एट ए टाइम फाइल हुए जम्मू में, और 7 ग्रांट हुए। और लद्दाख का पहला हैंडीक्राफ्ट ग्रांट हुआ लद्दाख से, फर्स्ट हैंडीक्राफ्ट। महाराष्ट्र ने भी दिया। मीराज का सितार, मीराज का तानपुरा पूरी दुनिया में जाता है। लेकिन हम उस विरासत को वहां से जब तक नहीं निकालेंगे और निकाल के लोगों तक नहीं पहुंचाएंगे, तब तक वो संभव नहीं होगा। हमें इतना बढ़िया लग रहा था, हम भेड़ा घाट का घूम रहे थे यहाँ पे मार्बल के प्रोडक्ट को देख करके, इतनी अच्छी शॉपिंग और इतनी भीड़ है वहां पे। ये यूनिकनेस आपके निकालना पड़ेगा, बाहर निकालना पड़ेगा, लोगों के बीच में भेजना पड़ेगा। तब जो हमारी कल्चरल प्रैक्टिस है, जो प्राइड है, जो डिग्निटी है, वह पूरी होगी। और हमें लग रहा है कि साथ विरासत का बचाने का और बढ़ाने का इससे बड़ा कोई प्रयास नहीं हो सकता है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर रजनीकांत जी, आपने माहौल को एकदम गर्म कर दिया है। और you have touched upon certain things where NABARD has been playing a big role, and this gives me an opportunity to talk about it a little. It's true that during the last 3 years, as Mr. Thapar also mentioned, it has been gathering momentum. but I would like to share with the House that last 3 years, including this current financial year, as many as 230 GI certificates have been granted, and out of this 230, 114 are with NABARD support. So we are roughly now supporting 50% of the products being registered in the country. We have another 150 in the pipeline, so Dr. Rajnikant would not be very far off the mark if we reach 250 by the end of the year. So, that of course depends on how fast the examination process can be conducted. While the atmosphere is heated up now, I think it is time to go back to the roots again. हमारे बीच में श्री सोहित प्रजापति जी हैं, बहुत ही एक छोटे से गांव से, एक गरीब परिवार, एक कुम्हार परिवार से हैं, और इन्होंने एक बहुत ही आम ग्रामीण कला को किस तरह एक असाधारण कलाकृति का रूप दिया है। और मैंने पेपर में पढ़ा और आज प्लेनरी हॉल में इनके मुंह से भी हमने सुना, कुछ सालों पहले तक जो कि कुल समुदाय की आय, वार्षिक आय 1-2 लाख के करीब होती थी, आज इस साल इस 9 महीने के दौरान it has touched 92 crores. Can you imagine that? So those who doubt the power of GI and think it is only the only number crunching, we are only growing in numbers, and probably the only beneficiary are the attorneys who facilitate GI. उनके लिए ये एक अच्छी सफलता की कहानी होगी। मैं प्रजापति जी से निवेदन करूंगा कि सबके सामने अपने सफलता की इस कहानी को बयां करें, एंड बताएं कि आपकी सफलता के पीछे आपके जो ये आय का स्रोत जो इतना बड़ा है, इसका श्रेय आप जीआई को देते हैं या कुछ और भी चीजें हैं, इसके बारे में थोड़ा बताएं।
हेलो, हाँ, मेरा नाम सोहित कुमार प्रजापति है। हमारा ब्लैक पॉटरी क्राफ्ट है, निजामाबाद आजमगढ़ उत्तर प्रदेश में बनता है। ये 2015 में जब से हमको जीआई टैग मिला, जीआई टैग एक बड़ी पहचान है, हमारी विरासत। पहले हमको कोई नहीं जानता था, पूरा समाज या कहीं भी हमारा प्रचार गांव से निकालने के लिए कोई हाथ तो चाहिए ही। उससे पहले हम बॉम्बे में सर भेलपुरी बेच रहे थे कि पुरानी सरकारों में स्थिति इतनी दयनीय थी कि स्थिति बहुत ख़राब थी। भेलपुरी, अखबार बेचना, लस्सी बेचना, इस तरह का काम था, क्योंकि आर्ट तो था, हमारे पूर्वज भी करते आए, हमारे दादा परदादा भी करते आए, लेकिन हम लोगों का कोई सपोर्ट नहीं था, कोई हमारी पहचान नहीं थी। आजमगढ़ की पहचान ही एक अलग पहचान थी। लेकिन जिस तरह से नाबार्ड का सहयोग मिला है, नाबार्ड के 2015 में हमको जीआई टैग मिला, फिर एक निजामाबाद रूरल मार्ट मिला और एसएचजी मिला, 50 एसएचजी महिलाओं का ग्रुप बना करके जो कारोबार बस लाखों में होता था, 92 करोड़ के पार है। फर्क इस आज हमारे लिए और भी सरकारें, उत्तर प्रदेश की सरकार है, बोर्ड ही बना दिया। 2000 जब हमारा जीआई टैग मिला तो माटी कला बोर्ड, इससे पहले बोर्ड भी नहीं था हमारे लिए, कुम्हारों के लिए कुछ भी नहीं, कोई सपोर्ट नहीं था। लेकिन अब बोर्ड 2018 में आकर के हमारे लिए जब जीआई टैग मिला तो हमारी एक पहचान मिली। कोई निजामाबाद ब्लैक पॉटरी को जानता नहीं था, तो अभी एक बोर्ड बन गया, बोर्ड भी सपोर्ट करने लगा। कुम्हार जाति जो पिछड़ी जाति है, इसका सपोर्ट बहुत बड़ा है। आज हम एक नए भारत की तरफ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। आज हम नौकरी देने वाला बन रहे हैं, कभी हम नौकरी करते थे, आज नौकरी देने वाला बन रहे हैं। ये है सर, नाबार्ड का बहुत बड़ा सपोर्ट है कि इस तरह का जो क्राफ्ट छुपे हुए हैं उनका जीआई टैग दे करके आगे बढ़ाना, और उस तरह के स्वयं सहायता समूहों को ग्रुप में करके, क्योंकि जब तक आप ग्रुप में नहीं रहेंगे तब तक आपका सपोर्ट नहीं कोई करेगा। कोई तो हाथ पकड़ के चलने का एक ग्रुप बनना चाहिए। और उसमें पूंजी की कमी आई तो पूंजी के लिए बैंक ने सपोर्ट किया, महिलाओं का लोन कराया उन्होंने। तो ये है नए भारत की नई पहचान, ये विरासत जो खत्म हो रही थी, आज नाबार्ड के छत्र छाया में बहुत तेज़ी से आगे बढ़ रहा है।
धन्यवाद प्रजापति जी। आपसे मैं कुछ सवाल जरूर पूछना चाहूँगा कि क्या जो लोग इस कला से जुड़े थे, पहले कुम्हार का काम करते थे, क्या उसमें कुछ वृद्धि आई है, या पहले उतने ही लोग थे वो आज भी उतने ही हैं?
नहीं सर,
इट्स ऑन प्रोबेबली।
सर वृद्धि आई है। जो पलायन कर गए थे, जैसे हम पलायन कर गए थे, युवा जो पलायन कर दे वो पुनः इस काम में आ गए हैं, क्योंकि उनको रोजगार चाहिए था। आज इतने डिमांड है हमारी। आप इस समय देखिए जो कुंभ मेला लग रहा है, कुंभ मेले में पानी की बोतल, क्योंकि पूरा प्लास्टिक बैन है वहाँ पे, कुंभ मेले में प्लास्टिक बैन है, इसलिए वहाँ पे पानी की बोतल की डिमांड है। जो वहाँ पे महंत लोग आएंगे उनको गंगा जल भर के उस पानी की बोतल में दिया जाएगा। तो हमारे कारीगर को इतना काम मिल रहा है कि वो पानी की बोतल दे नहीं पा रहे हैं सर। अन्य समाज के लोग भी जुड़कर इस काम में आ गए हैं सर।
धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद। मैं खास तौर पे इस बात को आपसे सुनना चाह रहा था। आपके पास दोबारा लौट के आएंगे, पर उसके पहले वी हैव अनदर वेरी डिस्टिंग्विश्ड एंड वेरी एमिनेंट पर्सन, Dr. Rajnikant also mentioned about him, that is Professor Abhijit Das. And although we have been talking about GI and how it came, Dr. Rajnikant ji also talked about it. But Abhijit sir, you have been involved in this process. So very briefly, if you could tell us about the way it started in India, what were the hurdles, and how do you compare with the landscape now? Professor Abhijit Das.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me express my sense of profound gratitude to NABARD and Mr. Saha for putting together this wonderful panel and providing me a platform to interact with all of you on a topic which has been very close to my professional life as well as to my heart for a very long time. And I must also compliment NABARD for its wonderful initiatives in taking forward this, what Dr. Rajnikant loosely says, GI ki Andhi. Now, GI as a concept really has its roots in European countries, France, UK, Germany, Italy. उन देशों में जो GI का concept है, वो primarily limited था to the products from the soil. Hence, the GI products of European Union mainly were, or I would say till quite some time, almost exclusively agricultural products. Given that background, when the Indian GI framework came into existence, starting from the GI Act and GI rules, we saw a very different trend in India. Not only did we have unique products which were agricultural products, we also had unique products which were traditional handicrafts, handlooms, textiles, etc. Now, getting a GI registration for most of these unique products poses an amazing challenge. Who are the producers? Artisans, farmers? Can we expect them to have any understanding of the legal niceties, legal requirement of a GI regime? Absolutely not. Do they have the financial wherewithal to go through the entire process of putting together an application, defending the application, and thereafter taking other initiatives? Out of question. So that was the landscape in which I, as head of the UNCTAD's India project, we stepped in 2007. We quickly reviewed what was happening domestically. There were some government organizations and some state governments who were very active in the area of GIs, but their model was top-down. Those organizations would identify products, prepare the application, get a GI registration done, and thereafter try to explain the benefits of a GI registration to the producers and to the community of artisans. That obviously didn't work. So through the UNCTAD project, we followed a totally different approach, which was bottom up. So what we really did, and why I'm repeating that, is it has relevance today. It continues to have lessons for how we can take the GI process forward in India. The first thing which we did was we identified about 25 products in which we made interventions. We had amazing people like Dr. Rajani, who could help create awareness amongst the producers, who could help explain to the producers the commercial benefits of getting a GI registration done and what they're losing out by their product not having a GI registration. So the first step was creating an awareness creation. In most of the cases, except for one, most of the producers were convinced of the benefits and utility of a GI registration. Then through the UNCTAD office, and with the help of experts like Dr. Rajani, we could help the producers prepare the GI application, which itself is an onerous task. One has to fulfill multiple requirements to make sure that it's only the product which enjoys a particular reputation, which is linked to the place of production, files the application to get the GI registration. We also help the producers in the registration process. When the GI registry undertakes a very detailed examination of the application, interacts with the applicants to convince itself that yes, the applicants are genuine. So that was one level of our intervention, and in that context, we did intervene for products like Banarsi sari and brocade, Bhadohi carpet, Shahi lychee, which Mr. Karan Thapar mentioned, and about 20 odd other products. And all those products, eventually, we could secure a GI tag for those products. So that was one stream of activities. The key message from that stream of activity was you have to first create awareness and then make sure that the stakeholders, the producers, the farmers, the artisans, they have a stake in getting a GI registration done. Then we also did 2 or 3 other very interesting things which again have relevance here. We also looked at products which had got GI registration tag earlier. We did a post-impact assessment study. Did the GI registration actually help improve the financial condition of the producers? There we got mixed results, but very clear message from the mixed result. The first study was in respect of Kotadoria in Rajasthan, where our study found that the incomes of artisans increased 3 times within a span of about 5-6 years, which was very important finding. Linked with that was another associated finding that the marital prospects of the daughters of these artisan communities, those really improved. So clearly not only was there a financial impact, there was a social impact as well of GI registration. So that was a clear success story. Contrast that to another product, which was Sholapur terry towels and chadar, where we found that the commercial benefits of GIs really did not percolate. Then we dug deeper and we found that no initiative was done for undertaking a post-registration brand building exercise. So the message was very clear that GI registration itself is not sufficient for leveraging it for getting commercial benefits. One needs to undertake very detailed brand building, marketing, post-GI registration activities. We also did a very detailed study of about 120-125 products to see what is the extent to which the consumers are willing to pay premium prices for GI registered products. And there our finding was that within a year or 2 years of GI registration, if adequate market initiatives are undertaken, then the consumers might be willing to pay even up to 7 to 10% premium prices. So that again highlights the utility of post-GI registration activities. So that was broadly what we did through the UNCTAD project. Subsequently, I headed the Center for WTO Studies. There, as part of the EXIM policy, there was a recommendation that the Center for WTO Studies must come up with a study on post-registration brand building initiatives. And that study we concluded in 2015. And as Mr. Karan Thapar says, there is a need for synergy between different government departments. Karan, I'm not sure whether DPIIT is aware of that study. We had shared that study with the Joint Secretary who was in DPIIT in charge of GIs. That study is on the website of the Center for WTO Studies. In fact, we had held a very detailed deliberation while finalizing that study in Banaras with the help of Dr. Rajani Kant. Those of you who are interested in knowing more about how the GI tag can be used for brand building activities, I would really urge you to go to the website of the Center for WTO Studies, and that study is available over there. It gives very detailed roadmap of how the brand building activities can be undertaken to leverage the GI tag commercially. So broadly, those are some of the things which I had the privilege of doing through my various professional association with GIs. Before I conclude, one or two small messages I would like to leave behind. First is, domestically, we really need to increase the awareness about GIs. To give you a simple example, Sanganer hand block printing is a GI. Jaipur airport is called Sanganer Airport. Go to Sanganer Airport, you won't find much mention of Sanganer hand block printing over there. We are missing out amazing opportunities for promoting the GI tag. So I'm sure DPIIT, which has done amazing work in the past few years, will take this movement forward. Apart from domestic awareness building, what is really important is to tap international markets. Now, to tap international markets is not easy. Let's bear in mind that GI is a territorial right. You get a product registered in India, you will get the GI protection in India. But to get a protection of the same product in European Union, you have to get it registered over there as well. That's costly. That's very rigorous. And that's where I guess DPIIT will need to step in, NABARD will need to step in to see how best we can get a few of the bigger commercially successful stories registered as GIs in some of the important markets abroad. And linked with that could be attempts at maybe organizing big commercial initiatives in, let us say, New York, London, Paris, or a few other countries, where we promote GI products of India on a very large scale. I would loosely call it celebrating traditional treasures of India. Linked with that could be an initiative on food-related GIs. In fact, people outside India would be surprised that more than 15 to 20 varieties of rice are registered as GIs. A large number of coffee varieties are registered as GIs. Now, the important point over there is each variety has some uniqueness. That gives us an opportunity for product differentiation, which we can leverage for commercial gains. So in conclusion, I would say two things over here. Internationally, we could have big events centered around GIs, loosely with a tag like celebrating traditional treasures of India. Domestically, जो प्रयास किया जा सकता है, वो है धरोहर से धन धान्य तक, which really can make sure or attempt to make sure that the commercial gains which are latent in a GI registration gets unlocked for the benefit of farmers and artisans. With that, I will conclude. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your very kind attention.
Thank you so much, Professor Das. This was something that we have been contemplating, bringing forth before all our NABARD officers. In fact, we have done a lot of good work as far as the GI registration part is concerned. And we pride ourselves to be one of the, or maybe the only organization which has a very comprehensive GI support policy. Under our post-GI activities, we do support various kind of marketing initiatives, which includes even preparation of catalogs, brochures, websites, digital cataloging. There can be awareness programs. There can be melas, exhibitions, exclusive GI pavilion. There can be GI resource centers, facilitation centers. All these can be supported through our grant assistance. But one thing is that we do not really have such good agencies which could take up this work. And it is here that doubt creeps in, that is it only a number game? Because after the registration, precious little is done beyond that. That is something that should be part of our agenda. And as you said, and I mean, like all of you have been saying this is a lesson, this is an agenda number 1 for NABARD in the coming days. And I hope that we'll be able to take it forward. Thank you, sir, for highlighting that. Next, we have another success story, a case study, which is again a very interesting story. Just sitting next to me is Chau, Athina, Chauhai from Namsai district in Arunachal Pradesh. Athina did his BCE, he did his Bachelor of Computer Science, and then he's an alumnus of IIM Ranchi and worked in the corporate sector for some years, and then decided to go back and work for his community. So he basically started, he laid the foundation of a farmers producer company with the support of Spice Board of India. And while working with the farmers, he also was a channel partner for NABARD. He has implemented from MEDP, LEDBs to skill development programs, and even in the process, the TDF project he is implementing. But the story here is how the indigenous variety of rice grown in that area, it belongs to that Thai Khamti community, and they were literally the promoters of this variety. And how this variety, after it got registered as a GI product, it became a success story, something that was, it became a household name beyond the community, and in far off places, including Far East countries in Thailand and all. So I would like him to tell us about how he made all this possible. But before that, a small announcement. You can see 2 boards being put up here. I request all the members, all the people present here, you can scan this QR code and submit your feedback, suggestions on the program as well as the subject. There are some open-ended questions, so you can pitch in. You can also be a member of this discussion through this process. So please go ahead and give your feedback while Athina tells us about his success story. Athina, please.
Hello. Thank you, Partho sir, CGM NABARD. A very good evening to all present here, distinguished panelists, guests. As introduced, myself, Athina Chauhai from Namsai, Arunachal Pradesh. First of all, I am very honored to be here among the panelists, distinguished panelists, who have wide and vast experience, especially in the GI. Since Partho sir has mentioned about the success stories of GI, I would like to share my journey, how I came across the GI product, Chauhai, of our area. I will just share the keen observation. When I was studying my post-graduation in IIM Ranchi, at a time, somewhere in my hometown, I used to hear that JEI registration process was going on, especially initiated by the Honorable Awardee CM sir. But this story was going on for another next 5 years, because the agency which they had chose for registration GI, they perhaps didn't know how to register it and how to propagate it. Then I hope when we started working with NABARD from the year 2020, thereon when Partho sir came, then we were very blessed that sir had introduced us at the time, Dr. Rajani sir. And from there on, when we started with Chauhai, Chauhai basically is, Chau means rice, Tai is our community name, so it's Chauhai. So when Dr. Rajani sir, when we first worked on with the GI of Chauhai, thereon it was just a moment of time, like within a span of 1.5 years, 2 years, we could hear whatever the result that we have seen announcement that more than 18 GI products have been registered. Now talking about Chauhai, since I had shared these small stories, why even many people of our community, especially our distinguished Honorable sir, had been trying to register it as a GI product. Whenever culturally, when we go in our area, Thai Khamti area of Namsai or Arunachal Pradesh, culturally it is very embedded. The rice is very embedded with us. Whenever there is any occasion, be it festivals, marriage, or any type of occasion, this rice was chosen as something that has to be given to the community. It was known for its aroma. It has its unique characteristics. That's why it's got its GI. But the popularity of the rice was known only among our community, and slowly it got its name nearby of our districts, nearby in the upper Assam districts. But since the inception of this GI tag, after it got registration, the post-GI activities which we got, for example, the exposure in many places, the exhibitions, and NABARD had also supported us in many marketing outlets such as Rural Mart, Rural Heart, where we could market the Chauhai. Then one of the things that I would like to share, even the challenges that we have right now in our area, is that even when we compare to other highly branded rice like Basmati, the technology which we see in other branded rice is that the role of technology, that they are being properly sorted, they are being polished and packaged in a very good package and marketed even in outside of India, exported. But in our place, still now, we are lagging behind the technology. Since the popularity of this Chauhai has rose to a large extent, then we thought, what if somebody just sell some other rice in the name of Chauhai, or they may adulterate it. That's why from the government we got one sorting machine. Right now we have set up the processing machine, where even though there was a high demand, but we could not export it to other place. Last year, from the Department MSME and Trade and Commerce, Industry and Trade and Commerce, we got an opportunity to display our product in Summer Fancy Food Show in New York, in USA. There too, there are many Asians, especially Southeast Asians, who consume sticky rice, and also Indians who consume obviously rice. But it was very difficult for us to export it to that high level, because if we could get high benefit of the GI Chauhai rice only if we sell it, popularize it as mentioned earlier, and also export it to other places. But I hope that it is not a hope, the processing unit has already been set up. Now we could standardize the rice to an international standard. That's what I meant to say is the role of technology, which we are going to get it in coming times post the GI interventions. Apart from that, as I had mentioned earlier, the popularity of the rice was only known in our community and in and around community. But right now, the popularity has rose to neighboring states and other parts of the state as well. Just as I had said, it was used in the festivals of our communities, in the marriage ceremony. Now the demand has gone to other tribes and other sections of the community as well. They are saying that whenever they hear they want to eat something rice, they say we have to eat Khamti rice. And since Namsai is located in the eastern part of Arunachal Pradesh, it's gateway to many tourism places. One of the most recent trending places, Anini, it is known as Anini, Kibitu, the China border, Dibang Valley. There are lots of tourism places, and also many homestays and resorts have come up. Now the popularity is such that whenever they go to Namsai, whenever they go to those places, they have to cross to Namsai, the place. And when they consume this Khamti Lahi rice, they always have their mind, now no other rice is as per their expectation, that they have never eaten such rice before. This is something that we really want to popularize it. And previously, when we talk about the livelihood income of the farmers, since the demand is getting popular, and also we are a farmer producer company where we are connected with more than 500 farmers. Previously, the price which they were getting were not very attractive, or the cost, the price difference between the cost and the profits which they were getting were not up to the mark. But after the post-GI, the popularity has rose, and we had done the packaging. After the packaging, the realization of price, the profit margin was it rose more than even 100%. Previously, they were selling like 30-35 rupees. Now it has gotten to 60 rupees. So in one way or the other, it has helped the farmers, our APCs, to tap the potentials of this unique product. And also, since I have said the processing unit will definitely help to reach the market in Delhi and other places in other metro cities of India as well. With this brief experience, I would like to sum up my words, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank NABARD, to speak a few words and share my few experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Athina. We have with us next somebody who has been leading one of the incubation centers supported by NABARD, and he comes across a lot of candidates, probably like Athina, who are interested in setting up their own startups. So, Mr. Ganesh Moorthy, the CEO of MABIF, Madurai Agribusiness Incubation Forum, we would like to know from you how institutionalized incubation can help to promote startups related to such indigenous products, and whether you are dealing with such kind of startups.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. First of all, my sincere thanks to NABARD for this great opportunity. As you mentioned, sorry, my throat is not well today. So our institution is a Madurai Agribusiness Incubation Forum. It is an initiative of NABARD and TNAU. We are giving incubation support to the budding entrepreneurs, startups, women entrepreneurs, even farmer producer company, now a GA association part. So actually it is started in the year 2018 for the only giving incubation supports. Now it has been expanded, like food production factory is there. Then we have enabled accredited food testing lab for all farmer producer company product as well as GI product, taken to the next level. Then we are giving under Government of India MSME department, we have IP center, intellectual property facility. Through that only we are supporting trademark, patent and geographical indication facilitation supports. Then we have been working with the pharma producer organization for setting the FPOs under the CSS scheme. Then one important point is the capacity building and workshops, because we are closely working with startups as well as pharma producer company, GA and all, a lot of capacity building training about the FPO management, financial management, value addition, branding, promotion, marketing. So a lot of training we are being giving. Then finally market access for their final product, that also we are supporting. So if you see about our incubation supports, I don't want to get into much that one. So we are more than 400 plus enterprises we have been supported. Then 500 plus FPOs we have supported. Regarding IP supports, so far we have filed 137 trademark and 23 patent, then 55 GI from Tamil Nadu state. So if you see an entire landscape of GI in India, so almost 600 plus GI have been registered, means it is granted from Government India level. If you see first 4 rows, so mainly agriculture, foodstuff, natural and handicraft. These are the 4 major category of the product. So almost more than 550 plus products are coming under that category. That is mainly from agri, food and other handicrafts area. So from Tamil Nadu, so far only 58 GI has been granted. So if you see MABIF, so far we have filed almost 55, out of 4 has been granted. Under another 65 there in the pipeline. So these are some of the agriculture products. So mainly why I am telling about, as an incubation center, we are supporting for the agri and food tech based startups, business enterprises. These people, they are facing lot of challenges, because these commodities are the agriculture commodity. So as it is right now, as you know, the FPOs or GI association, they are selling the product in the raw format, in the whole grain format, which definitely have a lot of potential. Also it has limitation to the sell the product with higher price. So why GI? As many of our panelists have mentioned about it, GI is the community based rights under IPR command, whereas other IPR it's a individual based. So it is giving a taste of place as well the economic assets of the any origin, which means from the local product we want to take it to the global, from the rural to global. That's what GI has been meant. This is the GI logo. I think I would have seen all the people. See, I have taken a main topic is GI branding and marketing. So branding is the most important for any product to sustain in the market. So for that, definitely branding is, it's not, we cannot say a very simple term that we have to take a product and put it in the packaging, then with labeling we cannot sell. So we need to have a highly attractive packaging as well as the modern, modern trend packing material. Then insisting of, especially for the GI product, definitely we should have a GI tag as well as the GI number to promote the product as well. Then indicating the uniqueness of the product, because now GI, if you see, it is not only for the quality attributes. We have to go for a certain uniqueness of the product. I will explain that later. If you do a lot of GI, that branding of the product, definitely will be having at least a minimum 25% hike in the price. So that is what we are looking for that. So for that we are encouraging our startup to closely work with pharma producer company as well as the GI associations. So you can see what is the difference, the branding. So the first, it is, since I am from the southern state, especially from Tamil Nadu, the first chicky, groundnut chicky, it is after GI packing, GI tagging, it is an initial packing with, GI tagged about only 180 rupees kilogram. Then after they add some value to their packaging and all, they could able to, increase their pricing. Then finally we see the last, packaging, it is a completely attractive packaging, which means they can, place in anywhere in the supermarket or global market, definitely they can increase or hike their prices to the product. That's what I want to show. Even other products, Srivali, Koilpati, Balkova, as well eco-friendly packaging also now, many startups now they are getting the, as per recent trend, they are getting into the packaging also. Then regarding promotional purpose, even many exclusive retail shops have been placed in the many of the states. So one is, if you see Rural Beats, he is one of our incubating member. He has placed exclusive GI showroom at Trivandrum. Then GI tagged is in the Bangalore area, one of the startups already placed. Other, even Tamil Nadu also we have Poombugar, exclusive showroom for the promoting the GI product. So through that definitely we can increase the branding as well as the marketing of the GI product. Then even for agro-tourism also we can flower for the agri commodity. See, even for one of the Kambam Paneer grapes from the Theni district, they have agro-tourism as well as the vineyard for the, from the Kambam grapes. Apart from that, for promoting e-commerce platform, even we have developed a www.shopg.in for the exclusive e-commerce platform for promoting the GA product throughout the India. That we have developed, like in Amazon and Flipkart and all. Because other existing e-commerce platform, they have a lot of limitations also. As a community-based e-commerce platform, it will easy for the FPOs or GA association where they can able to place their product with limited costings and all. That's what we are supporting. Then if you see any building this scalable production of GI product as well as the global market, if you see any typical supply chain from the producer, it will go to the trader or processor, then retailers, finally it will reach the consumer. As far as an incubation center considering, we are directly connecting the farmers or GI association to the startups. The startups will take care of primary or secondary processing or value addition. Finally, it will reach the customer. Because of they can able to add value to the product and easily they can access to the market without having extra costings and all. Then if you see that business interaction between the startups, PCL as well as GS, another part is the IP royalty. Because GA is the community-based rights. Apart from that, if you take any value-added product from the GA tagged product, we can go for patent also. Definitely, it will have value to the the startup with IP royalty. That also possible, and they can able to promote the GA product. See, as I mentioned, the uniqueness is not only about the quality attributes. The internal bioactive components. For example, if you see Madurai Malli, they are selling at a raw format as well as they are extracting the fragrance. So that is the uniqueness of the Madurai Malli. We see Erode Manjal, the curcumin, highest curcumin part of the from 2.5 to 4.5% is there. So we have to brand as a curcumin from the Erode Manjal. Then only we can able to brand the product, because that is the most important rather than selling the GA tagged Erode Manjal. So by the way, we can able to increase the value of the GA product. The finally, if you see the Solomon beetle leaf, one of our incubator is normally the Solomon beetle leaf, it is using what beta purpose. Now he has extracted the juice from the beetle beetle leaf. He is selling at a beta palm. We can drink. That's why he have developed the new product. Now he is branding. He got lot of order for the US also. So like that we can able to promote the GA product the international market. So already I have discussed so many things. Regarding suggestion, definitely we have to go for a national or state level federation for the GA. Right now we don't have, because every GA association are independent. We can connect all people as under one umbrella. Then state level GA facility center we can try. For each state at least we should have one GA facility center. Then conduct, already Sir has mentioned about the impact study of all GA product. Then one state, one shop, definitely possible for promoting all the GA product. Then retail outlets in all the international airport. It is, it will give a lot of impact for the. Then another important point is the traceability of the GA product, because right now it is limited. With the authenticity of the product, we are not able to justify. So definitely we have to go for some blockchain technology based traceable system. Now a lot of startups are working on that. Definitely it will bring a lot of impact in the GA part. Then that's what already I have discussed. If any questions, I am happy to answer for that. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ganesh Moorthy. We'll definitely be coming back to you for questions. You really want to be? Okay. Our Director DPIIT, Mr. Karan Thapar, has some urgent engagements you'd like to leave. But before that, sir, if I could ask you one question. We have heard about you talking about the need for post-GI activities and all. I don't know how to put it. You have also told that, okay, it's a community-based asset and the community should be the owner of that and the registered applicant. We have been hearing about that. But we find that in many of the states, the state government has been the main player. They have been like supporting the registration of GI. But beyond that, that post-GI activity, I'm not saying that we or any other agency has been very successful in that, but then an attempt has been made in many places. But wherever invariably we find that wherever the state government is the applicant, nothing much happens after the registration. Can some kind of awareness be created amongst the science and technology department mostly, where, or the IPR cell in the state governments, which is taking up this kind of initiatives?
It's a very sort of pertinent question. So firstly, I think in terms of GI, it is important to understand who the applicant can be. So the applicant can be an institution, can be a state-backed institution, a government-backed institution. For example, tea board, spice board, coffee board, Apida, so on and so forth. They have registered a lot of these GI products. Or it could be a state-led institution. Or else it could be a society or an association which is set up amongst the producers. So most of the successful, among the GIs, there are many successful GIs, but among the successful GIs that we see, the most prominent trend is that when there is either a dedicated institution which is tasked with that function, if they take up the role of sort of seeking protection, the post-GI commercialization support is more readily available for producers and artisans. As I was mentioning about, let's say, coffee and tea board, spice board, they have put their regulations in place. There is a mechanism for onboarding authorized users. There are quality checks, which are also necessary for the post-registration activity apart from just the commercial support. So yes, brand building, developing market linkages is one part of it. But then to also make sure that the quality and authenticity of the product is maintained post-registration is an important part of the functions and responsibilities that the proprietor or the applicant, the custodian, has to carry out. So I'm not sure if state governments themselves have come up. I think largely it would be the state-led institutions. Yeah. And again, among the producer associations, again, there is a larger trend is that while at the time of registration we see there is a lot of fervor, there is a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm to get that product registered as a GI, but subsequently, given that they may not sort of get any backing, financial backing, sometimes post-registration activities taper off a bit, be it setting up an inspection body or an inspection mechanism, or finding linkages, marketing linkages, both for the domestic market as well as for the international market, trying to build brand value of products. So for most of these products, I think there are initiatives of different departments, both central government departments and state government departments. For example, Ministry of MSME has their own support system. Likewise, Ministry of Cooperatives have a strong support system. Animal Husbandry and Dairy Ministry also has its support system. And DPIIT is also considering coming up with a scheme. Right now, our scheme is limited to, as Dr. Rajani was saying, limited to carrying out these fairs, the international trade fairs, or for instance, last year we set up a massive sort of trade fair here at the in the previous international trade fair. So while this has helped, this market access in sort of accessing the market has helped, we see that there is a greater need to build in certain financial incentives where the money reaches directly to the beneficiaries. So there's a lot of discussions that are happening within the department as to finding a mechanism to sort of provide more grants to such institutions for these post-registration activities, and also maybe look at developing a reimbursement system whereby if they, for example, do certify their products, do get their products certified by a quality or an inspection body, they would be entitled for certain amount of grants or subsidies which the government would provide. Likewise, if they are exporting their products to the export market, we would assist them in the process, in the export process. Because I think one of the very points which Das also mentioned is the need for our products to get protected in the global markets. Why that is getting even more important is that as more and more products are becoming prominent, as more Indian products are becoming prominent, many of these products are now reaching the global markets and are getting protected as either trademarks or getting supplied by not Indian producers but by other countries. For example, in the UK market, you would find that there are many Indian products which are being supplied by other nationalities and our neighbors, for example. For example, Goan Fenny. Now, if you look at Goan Fenny, we found that in UK, Goan Fenny has been protected as a trademark by a Portuguese supplier. Kangra tea has been protected by a Chinese national. I mean, their list runs long. There are more than 20-25 products, Indian products, which are GI products, prominent GI products, getting protected internationally by people who see an opportunity. The thing is that they do see an opportunity. They see the possibility of demand. They see a market, and then they supply those products and get trademark protection. And this becomes difficult for us because subsequently, when we go and try and seek our protection, our application will receive a lot of opposition, given that it's a territorial right, which Professor Das mentioned. So this is getting even more and more concerning, because the GI as a concept actually is meant to ensure the exclusivity of the indication, the tag. So only producers or the actual artisans who are belonging to that region, belonging to that community, can use that geographical indication. Champagne is a perfect example. Only the French region where your champagne is grown can be called a champagne, else it's called sparkling wine. So it's about taking exclusivity of that name and then building that brand so that your benefits come back to the country and come back to the producers actually. I can go on this, but I think there are a few questions I can see.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can you be very brief? We still have one panelist left.
Because of the monetary value, because of the quality, and because of the global branding which they have earned over the years, again, adding to the cultural pride of it. So everything is interconnected, and similarly here we need, I think it is high time that our GI policy, while we are doing the registration, we should actually look at which product has a global potential, and we should do a simultaneous activity in the possible counterfeiting countries like China, Europe, UK, specifically. Maybe, in my personal opinion, Canada is the fourth one, which will definitely get into this business. Absolutely. So this has to be done from the day one itself, because even right now we can go back to the public IPR search. There are a lot of GI applications which are registered, but no authorized user. Zero authorized user. So I believe the list of people who are making the genuine art and craft and the potential global geographies should be done simultaneously to protect them further.
Correct. Very correct.
Thank you. Any further queries?
Well, we thank Mr. Thapar to be here with us beyond what he had already promised to us. So before he leaves, you'd like to announce that.
May I like to request our moderator to kindly give Mr. Thapar a memento. Our memento today is an ornate papier-mâché tray. I now hand over the discussion to our moderator.
Thank you, thank you. We have our last panelist before us, again a very interesting person, Mrs. Meenakshi Mehta, who has again a very interesting designation. She is the Director for Communications and Storytelling with VOSMOS. Why she is here is because she is running a project called Shri, which is helping the GI artisans to promote their products. And we wanted somebody, I mean, today's age, if you are not taking care of the technology part that we have been discussing, it's not only for the traceability or the protection, it is also for the marketing. So we would like to know from Madam Meenakshi Mehta how technology is being used by them to create a virtual store and a digital marketing portal for GI artisans. Ma'am, please.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm actually a little overwhelmed with the esteemed panelists sitting over here, and me sharing the stage with them is very overwhelming. I'm trying to do my best to introduce myself, and like Sir said, I head the storytelling and communication for my company called VOSMOS. I will start with a story. So about a year back, we were all sitting and browsing on Amazon. How many of you know Amazon? What was the last product you bought from Amazon, ma'am? Yes, you. What was the last thing you bought? A book. Published by? Sold by? No. Amazon has sellers. Who sold it? Who? Exactly. So we were browsing on Amazon, and we were looking for some handicrafts to give out as gifts, and Amazon is the fastest way to get the delivery to your house. We realized that there are products, but we were very doubtful of the authenticity. We were extremely doubtful of the seller, and we were wondering whether we were paying the right amount of money, though it is Amazon. That was the seed of Srishti. A team of us sitting in office said that there is so much of culture, and the artisan community of India has so much to offer, but do we know them? I wear a chikankari suit from some shop that I bought. I don't even know the artisan who sold it, made it, sorry, niche karna hai? You can see I'm a novice at panels. So it was about trying to give the artisan an identity. That's how Srishti started. So we worked with three things. We worked with authenticity of product. We worked with giving not just the product a brand, but making the artisan a brand name. And thirdly, to provide the artisan with simplified technology, which is actually what he can do on his mobile phone, or it's so simple and it's so web-based. He doesn't need a laptop, he doesn't need very hi-fi internet speed. He can manage his entire sales on our platform. So that's how we started. We have currently got about 50 live stores, about 150 artisans that we have onboarded. The process is very simple. They tell us the product they want to sell. We do the photo shoot for them. We integrate it on our stores. Now again, the stores that we have designed. The store is an immersive experience, not just for you as a customer. It's a complete brand story of the artisan. So once you enter a store, I will say it is like a marketplace, it is an e-com platform, but when you enter our store, the first thing you hear is the story of that person who has made these products. Who is he? Where has he come from? How many people in his family are involved in this? Which generation artisan is he? You will actually hear that sound, that voice, telling you the story of the artisan even before you browse the product. When you are browsing the product, each product's story, history is also mentioned with the price and the quantity. So we have tried to give the artisan a name through Kala Srishti. So today when you buy something from somebody in Assam or somebody in Lucknow or somebody, Sir had mentioned about Sanganer and there was Kota Doria mentioned. So when you go there, you actually know the person who made that. So when you buy it, you are buying it from somebody who you know has a face, has a value, and is a brand in himself or herself. We have simplified technology where we have integrated partners like Shopify, ShipRocket, and Stripe, so that it's all very convenient in terms of anyone who's trying to use this platform. Our team educates the artisans on how to manage these stores. So the idea behind this is that we want these artisans to go global directly through this immersive platform and earn directly. So whatever they make goes directly to their bank account. So all the stores are integrated to the artisan's bank account. So that's how the Kala Srishti process works. What we are also doing, which is primarily what I do, is that on our page on social media, every month we feature all the artisans. We have at least about 30 social media posts that go out to create brands out of these artisans. If any of you all visit the VOSMOS page and see the Kala Srishti posts, we hardly mention who we are. We always talk about the product, the history, the cultural heritage of India, and the artisans behind this entire, what should I say, they're the custodians. Somebody mentioned, I think Prajapati sir mentioned that, ये जो भी धरोहर है या ये कला है, जो अभी अगर हमने नहीं संभाला, तो we will be one of those countries that will say, yes, we used to have all this. So I think the platform that NABARD has given, all the people sitting here on stage, including myself, the effort here is to be able to hold and sustain and promote this cultural heritage of India through all the efforts that we're making. I know we're running really short of time, so I'm not going to take up too much. But thank you so much, Partho sir, for giving me a chance to come on stage and talk. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, ma'am. I know I have not been really fair to you. You came as the last panelist and probably the clock is ticking away. You didn't get much time. But before we end, I would like to steal a little bit of time from some of the panelists here. First of all, Professor Abhijit Das, you, I think the audience also missed out. He is basically an expert on international trade. His book on WTO and trade, international trade is going to be published very soon. So, sir, what do you think India should be doing to capture that potential and have a larger share in that international trade? Very briefly, if you could just tell us.
Thank you, Shahaji. India has a very strong foundation on geographical indications, no doubt about it. That's thanks to the initiatives of and efforts of organizations like NABARD or enterprising persons like Dr. Rajani, or what I've heard from Ms. Mehta. It's really a set of people who have come together, who are fueled with the passion. I think we need to have synergies with that, with these people, with respective arms of the government, central level, state level. But the focus really should be 2 or 3 things. Enhance awareness building domestically, get a few products which are commercially viable, registered as GIs abroad, and not only that, we need to put in place mechanisms for identifying infringement of GI rights in foreign territories. T-Board is doing it. It's a very costly exercise, but certainly as time goes by, central government, NABARD, maybe Textiles Committee as well, could consider putting in some money for doing that aspect, which is surveillance, monitoring, identifying infringement, helping defend the Indian GI producers in foreign courts. That is the way forward. And linked with that is what I mentioned. We really need to take our GIs at the international level. That really requires us to organize dedicated trade fairs in cities which has a huge diaspora. They will be the second level of our GI enablers. And here I have in mind cities like New York, Paris, maybe Berlin even, outside India. And finally, one short point over here, it's frequently forgotten that there are some GIs which go across borders of countries. Maybe we need to have some sort of a collaboration to see whether we can have joint registration of some such products. We tried it in Basmati, it didn't work, but we shouldn't feel a setback because of that. We have a potential of collaboration with, let's say, Nepal, with Bangladesh, with Myanmar, with Sri Lanka for joint GIs. That is the way forward to take our GIs to the international level. Thank you, Mr. Shah.
Thank you, sir. There was a brief mention about how tourism can help in branding GI products, or GI products can also help in marketing. From Athina, a brief, say a minute or so on the tourism project that you have been associated with in Namsai, how GI has played a part.
Thank you, sir. The year past, before 3 years, we were doing one tourism project with NABARD. That is my district, my project, where it's one of a unique kind of project from NABARD. The main objective was to promote tourism in our area, especially increase the livelihood of those homestays who are in the Namsai district. Through tourism, how this GI product got its success is that, as I said earlier, when Namsai is one of the gateway of the tourism sector in the eastern Arunachal Pradesh, then whenever they visited those places, they stay in those homestays and they get the taste of this khautai. Because when we look at the khautai, it looks just like a normal rice. That's why it's sometimes very difficult to promote it when compared to other rice where its look is very appealing. Unless and until you have that rice, traditionally, when you have that rice, when the homestays owner, they cook it traditionally with the leaf and aroma, when they combine it specific set of dishes, then they get its essence and they get to know the real taste of this khautai. And this project has really helped it. And also, once the customers or the tourists, when they get a taste, they promote it to other places. And when they visit back to the same place, they seek the khautai rice and also take it to their own place. I believe this will really help us to capture the market and also propagate this unique rice in other places of the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Basically, it is not just the GI. When the tourists keep flowing, the economy of the place grows, and then the rural marts or the artisans or the farmers of that area, they also get a greater demand for their produce, and the whole economy grows as at large. So that is the power of tourism, and it can be actually used to promote every kind of brand. Coming to the end, GI products are obviously, they are linked to the geography, they are indigenous products, and they are supposed to be more climate resilient. Dr. Rajani Kant is known as the GI man of India, but probably many don't know that he holds a degree he's a graduate in agriculture science, did his post-graduation in soil science, and also did his PhD in soil chemistry before being professor with BHU for some years and then switching to social work. Sir, to end the session, can you tell us in brief about how GI products can help in promoting climate resilience in agriculture?
पूरी दुनिया क्लाइमेट पे बात कर रही है और आखिरी में पार्थो शाही ने भी जीआई को क्लाइमेट के साथ में लिंक किया। जीआई वाकई में क्लाइमेट के ही साथ जुड़ा हुआ है। जब हम बात करते हैं ज्योग्राफिकल इंडिकेशन, जो हम शब्द बोलते हैं, ज्योग्राफिकल इंडिकेशन बोलते ही उसकी जो यूनिकनेस है वहां के मिट्टी से, पानी से, क्लाइमेट से, इन्वायरमेंट से, वहां की वायु से, पेड़ से, पौधे से, वो लिंक होती है। अगर वो लिंक नहीं होगी तो जीआई रजिस्ट्री उस एप्लीकेशन को रिजेक्ट कर देती है। जीआई रजिस्ट्री पूछती है कि इसमें यूनिक क्या है। आज जब हम कहते हैं कि यह आपातानी टेक्सटाइल है अरुणाचल प्रदेश में 0 की, तो पूछता है यूनिक क्या है। वीविंग तो सारी जगह बैक स्टेप लूम पे हो रही है, इसमें नया क्या है। उस नए में क्लाइमेट के साथ जुड़ता है। 0 वैली में जो बटरफ्लाई पाई जाती है, उसका जो बटरफ्लाई का पंख होता है, उसका जो कलर है, उसका जो मोटिव है, वो उस आपातानी के कपड़े में रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है। और आज से नहीं रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा, 500 साल 1000 साल उसके पहले से रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है। वो बटरफ्लाई वहीं पे है, आज भी वही कलर है और आज भी आपातानी का मोटिव वही है। ये उसके साथ में सीधा लिंक है। जो दूसरा, जब हम अच्छा, ये सिर्फ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट में नहीं, क्लाइमेट से रिलेटेड। जब वो बोलते हैं ऑर्गेनिक डाई यूज करते हैं, नेचुरल डाई यूज करते हैं, पत्तियों को यूज करते हैं। जैसे हमें याद है अच्छी तरह से कि जब हम मेघालय में गारो टेक्सटाइल को, गारो डाकमांडा को जीआई करा रहे थे, भाषा नहीं मालूम है एक्सपर्ट लोगों को जो गारो लोग बोल रहे हैं, और एक्सपर्ट की भाषा गारो को नहीं मालूम है। लेकिन जीआई के लिए जब डिस्प्ले किया गया, प्रेजेंटेशन जब उसका हुआ, 400 साल पुराना फैब्रिक, 200 साल पुराना फैब्रिक, 100 साल पुराना फैब्रिक, 50 साल पुराना फैब्रिक, और 400 साल पहले किस लीफ से कलर बनाते थे, उस लीफ को लाके उन लोगों ने रखा वहां पे, और उसके बगल में उस कलर को रखा। ये क्लाइमेट के साथ में लिंकेज है जो पूरी दुनिया में नहीं है, आज की तारीख में बचा नहीं है। हम बार बार कहते हैं बचेगा तो बढ़ेगा, और बढ़ाने के लिए ढेर सारे पार्टनर्स को साथ में आना पड़ेगा, जिसमें आखिरी में बेचने के लिए वॉस्मॉस जैसी कंपनी को भी आना पड़ेगा, जो ईमानदारी से आर्टिजन्स के साथ में इन्वॉल्व होगी, प्रोड्यूसर के साथ इन्वॉल्व होगी, और आने वाले समय में कम से कम 5 साल तक ये प्रमोशन का काम करेगी। ये वनडे की एक्सरसाइज नहीं है। 5 साल तक आपको प्रमोशन का काम, जैसे नाबार्ड काम कर रहा है, ग्रांट बेस्ड काम कर रहा है, लोन मिलना, क्रेडिट मिलना, ये बात की कहानी है। पहले शब्द ही तो मालूम हो। हमें कहने में कोई संकोच नहीं है कि कितने जगह के डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर आज भी ऐसे हैं जिनको जीआई के बारे में जानकारी नहीं है। डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर एक हो गया, दूसरा भी पुलिस महकमे में चला, कोई जीआई के बारे में जानकारी नहीं है। ये जानकारी होना बहुत जरूरी है। उनके क्लाइमेट में यूनिकनेस क्या है, वही पाइनएप्पल है उसका, जो कि त्रिपुरा से जीआई हुआ। लेकिन पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट के हर ज्योग्राफिकल रीजन में अलग अलग पाइनएप्पल्स हैं, उनका टेस्ट अलग है, क्वालिटी अलग है, स्वाद अलग है, एरोमा अलग है, स्मेल अलग है। तो हमारा आखिरी में आकर यही है कि सबको एक साथ में आना पड़ेगा, रोड मैप बनाना पड़ेगा, तैयारी करनी पड़ेगी, और हमको फार्मर के, वीवर के, आर्टिजन के कंधे पे इसको नहीं फेंकना होगा कि नहीं ये उनका जीआई, वो अपना प्रमोशन का काम करें। हमेशा प्रमोशन का काम, ये वेलफेयर स्टेट का कॉन्सेप्ट है भारत में, ये सरकार का काम है, उससे जुड़ी एजेंसीज का काम है। आप प्रमोशन करके दिखाओ। मार्केट इतना जबरदस्त है आज की तारीख में कि पूरी दुनिया में खासतौर से यंग जनरेशन हमेशा बोलती है हमें इस ब्रांड का सामान चाहिए। तो ये भारत का जो जीआई है वो एक ब्रांड के रूप में जब इमर्ज करेगा तब हम आगे बढ़ पाएंगे। नहीं तो वही कहानी होगी कि हम दुनिया में जब पहुंचेंगे तो बोलेगा उसने तो चाइना ने पहले करा लिया, इटली ने पहले करा लिया, जर्मनी ने पहले करा लिया। अब आप अपनी चीज को तो करा नहीं पाए बाहर जाकर के, अब आप उससे लड़ाई करो और वह फेल हो जाओगे। तो आपको भी पहले आना पड़ेगा। बासमती का एक एग्जाम्पल रहा है कि कैसे अमेरिका बासमती को लेके गया और बाद में जब सरकार नींद से जगी तो सरकार को 7 करोड़ 60 लाख रुपीस खर्च करना पड़ा। 7 करोड़ 60 लाख, तब वापस बासमती। और वो भी इसलिए जीत गया क्योंकि बासमती की पूरी कहानी भारत के भूभाग से जुड़ी हुई थी, इसलिए अमेरिका हार गया और वो वापस आया आपका, और फिर तब यहां पे जीआई हुआ। तो ये बचाना, बढ़ाना, उसके बाद फिर सारे लोग इन्वॉल्व उसमें होंगे। हमारा यही है। और वो सीधे सीधे क्लाइमेट से, इन्वायरमेंट से जुड़ा हुआ है और अब तो टेक्नोलॉजी से जुड़ा हुआ है, क्योंकि किसके घर में किस गांव का कौन सा प्रोडक्ट जा रहा है, ये सिंपल सा क्यूआर कोड स्कैन करके बता देता है कौन सा प्रोडक्ट बना कहाँ का है, ये बता देता है। वो टेक्नोलॉजी तो किसान नहीं तैयार करेगा ना, आर्टिजन वीवर नहीं तैयार करेगा, उसके लिए तो आगे आना पड़ेगा। और हम नाबार्ड से भी आग्रह करते हैं कि आप अपने पोस्ट जीआई इंटरवेंशन में भारत के कुछ सेलेक्टेड जीआईज को आइडेंटिफाई कर लें जो लगभग ग्लोबल मार्केट में जा रहे हैं, और उनके लिए पायलट बेसिस पे कुछ क्यूआर कोड को डेवलप करिए, कराइए एक्सपर्ट लोगों को लेकर के। ट्रेसेबिलिटी की बात हो कि आपका सामान अगर वासमास के माध्यम से या किसी भी एजेंसी के माध्यम से दुनिया के किसी भी कोने में गया तो ये मालूम हो कि किसके घर में क्या चीजें पहुंच रही हैं और किस फार्मर का है, किस आर्टिजन का, किस वीवर का है। हमें लग रहा है कि तो सबसे बड़ी सफलता होगी। और हमें लग रहा है कि आज के इस आपके नेशनल लेवल के इस इवेंट की सार्थकता भी जो है वो बहुत बड़ी हो जाएगी। थैंक यू सर। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. I think I got more than I had asked for, and the panelists were so experienced and they were each such great storytellers that it has left virtually no time for questions. But if the crowd is ready, maybe we can take a few questions.
Sir, I am from Panipat. I'm working as into the textile industry, and textile industry for domestic and as well as for export supplies. Panipat is a major hub. Sir, are you aware that if there is any GI for Panipat textiles, or if not, then is there potential for the Panipat textiles, especially it's an export hub. All over world, textile goods are exported from Panipat. So what is the scope for GI for Panipat based textiles?
पानीपत में 5 ऐसे प्रोडक्ट हैं जो आने वाले समय में जीआई हो सकते हैं। पानीपत को तो यूनेस्को ने वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज में शामिल किया है। आपकी कारपेट, आपकी दरी, आपका खेस, 3 तो एकदम में प्रोमिनेंट प्रोडक्ट हैं जो इमीडिएट फाइल होंगे, मतलब इसमें कोई डाउट है ही नहीं किसी तरह का। इसके अलावा आपकी और भी हैंडलूम वीविंग के 1-2 प्रोडक्ट हैं जिसकी एक पुरानी हिस्ट्री रही है पानीपत में। ये संभावना पोटेंशियल जीआई है, आने वाले समय में एकदम वो जीआई होगा। और हमें लग रहा है कि शायद नाबार्ड का जो रीजनल ऑफिस है उसने कुछ इनिशिएटिव स्टार्ट किया है पानीपत हरियाणा को लेकर के, एक प्रोडक्ट शायद आइडेंटिफाई हुआ, लेकिन आपके पास तो ऑलरेडी एसोसिएशन है एंड यू कैन कम फॉरवर्ड एंड देन वी कैन टेक द इनिशिएटिव, नो इशू।
तो we need to approach which organization?
नहीं, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से देखिए, जीआई में दो चीजें होती हैं। आपको कोई इंपॉर्टेंट जीआई टेक्निकल फैसिलिटेटर आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा जो कि इस पूरे प्रोसेस को लेकर के आगे जाएगा। एप्लीकेंट आपका एसोसिएशन होगा, लेकिन आपको एक टेक्निकल फैसिलिटेटर लेना होगा क्योंकि ये लॉन्ग टाइम और लेंथी प्रोसेस है, लीगल प्रोसेस है। तो उसमें जो लोग जीआई के लिए सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, जैसे हम आपको एग्जांपल देते हैं कि नाबार्ड के ही सपोर्ट से हमने भारत में लगभग 250 से अधिक जीआई फाइल करवाए हैं, 155 ग्रांट हो चुका है। तो इसलिए एसोसिएशन आपका बात करेगा, उसमें सपोर्ट मिल जाएगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। थैंक यू।
Anyone else? Okay.
Sir, I had just one question. While we are already working on making stringent laws and ensuring that the rights are protected, this is just a thought that if the consumer is also more aware on the authenticity of the product, the counterfeit and pirated products will eventually get discouraged. So, like Thapar sir also mentioned that there are promotions being done via MasterChef and Metro. What other steps can be taken to make our consumers more aware of what authentic products are and more aware about what actually the cultural pride is, so that they can identify what they are buying is authentic and they can actually contribute to that?
Could I attempt to answer that question?
Yeah, please.
Thanks for that question. It's very important. We have a good model which originates from Chanderi saris. A trust has been formed called Chanderiya, where they do some very simple things. They, at one point in time, their cash memo used to mention that you are buying a GI product. They were also vigilant enough to identify from all over the country, are there producers who are incorrectly using the Chanderi label? And they took very stringent action against them. So that is at the level of the producers and right holders. But at the same time, what is important is what I mentioned, domestically we have to really make efforts at enhancing the awareness. And that will take time, that will cost money, but there is no running away from it. We have to do that. And there again, the role of NABARD really comes to the forefront.
हेलो सर, मैं विधान चंद्र राय सिवान बिहार से आया हूँ। हमारा वहाँ पर मदर टेरेसा सेवा ट्रस्ट एक एनजीओ चलता है और हमने अपने एनजीओ के माध्यम से लगभग 1500 महिलाओं को सदस्य बना करके उनसे मशरूम की ट्रेनिंग दे करके और मशरूम का उत्पादन कराते हैं। और हमारा एक एफपीओ भी है जिसके लगभग 1500-1600 सदस्य हो चुके हैं अभी तक। और क्या हम लोग मशरूम और गुड़ इन सब का जीआई में हमारा टैग मिल सकता है? हमारे यहाँ मक्के का,
ठीक है,
मक्के का भी
नहीं ना हो गया। क्वेश्चन आप सुन लिया आपका। मशरूम है, गुड़ है, या कोई पत्थर है, या कोई और भी प्रोडक्ट है, हमेशा ध्यान रखिएगा कि जीआई प्रोडक्ट का होता है, उत्पाद का होता है, कोई प्रोडक्ट होना चाहिए। कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, मशरूम को एकदम जीआई मिल सकता है। जीआई में 3-4 चीज़ों का जरूर ध्यान रखिएगा। कोई भी व्यक्ति आइडेंटिफाई अब आप कर सकते हैं। आज के जाने के बाद शायद आप लोग अपने गांव घर में भी खोजना भी शुरू करेंगे कि ये जीआई हो सकता है, ये हो सकता है, ये हो सकता है। और यही सबसे बड़ी विशेषता है जीआई की, जिसको खोजेंगे। एक तो वो प्रोडक्ट नाम से बुलाया जाता है, लोग मांगते हो उसको। जैसे अभी बोले चंदेरी साड़ी, या पोचमपल्ली एकत, या बनारस साड़ी, या बनारस का लंगड़ा आम, या निजामाबाद ब्लैक पॉटरी, या कांजीवरम साड़ी। नाम से बुलाया जा रहा है, साड़ी नहीं बोल रहे, कांजीवरम साड़ी, मैसूर सिल्क, नाम से बुलाया जा रहा है कोई प्रोडक्ट। वो गांव में है, उस कस्बे में है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। अगर वहां पे वो पॉपुलर है वो प्रोडक्ट उस गांव को, जैसे कोई बोलता है कि हमको गुड़ चाहिए और एक आदमी बोलता है हमको मुजफ्फरनगर का गुड़ चाहिए, दोनों फर्क हो गया। मुजफ्फरनगर का गुड़ चाहिए, इसका मतलब है उसकी एक रेपुटेशन है। दूसरा, उस प्रोडक्ट का करीब 70 से 100 साल का इतिहास चाहिए वहाँ होने का। जीआई को क्रिएट नहीं किया जा सकता, बना नहीं सकते हैं। जीआई एग्जिस्ट करता है पहले से वहाँ पे। जैसे बाराबंकी हैंडलूम, लगभग 250 साल पहले का इतिहास है हैंडलूम की वीविंग का। बाराबंकी से लेके अयोध्या के पूरे इलाके में, फैजाबाद से लेके पूरा इलाका है। जामदानी किसी समय बहुत बेहतरीन बनती रही, शब्द था अवध जामदानी, ये शब्द है। तो अगर आपके मशरूम में तो 70 से इतिहास हो गया। तीसरा हो गया, एक जोग्राफिकल एरिया होनी चाहिए। एक जिला है, 10 गांव है, 20 गांव है, एक ब्लॉक है, 5 डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, 10 डिस्ट्रिक्ट से कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। एक एरिया, जैसे एग्जांपल दें, बासमती राइस 7 स्टेट ज्वाइंट जीआई है, ज्वाइंट, लेकिन बनारस नहीं है उसमें। 7 स्टेट में उत्तर प्रदेश है। उत्तर प्रदेश का पश्चिमी इलाका है जहां पे बासमती की खेती सैकड़ों साल से हो रही है। बनारस नहीं है, मिर्जापुर नहीं है, चंदौली नहीं है। ये एक जोग्राफिकल एरिया हो गया, एकदम देहरादून जम्मू से शुरू होकर के किनारे किनारे बॉर्डर का इलाका पंजाब तक चला गया। पूरा पंजाब है, पूरा हरियाणा है। ये जोग्राफिकल एरिया होनी चाहिए। दूसरा एग्जाम्पल दे रहे हैं, बनारस गुलाबी मीनाकारी सिर्फ एक जिला है, एक जिले में भी सिर्फ शहर है। बनारस के रूरल एरिया में गुलाबी मीनाकारी नहीं बनती है। 17वीं शताब्दी से 17वीं सेंचुरी से गुलाबी मीनाकारी का जो रिकॉर्ड है वो बनारस है, और बनारस में जो पुराना इलाका बनारस का है वहां पे बनती है। तो एक एरिया हो गई, उसका एक इतिहास हो गया और एक नाम हो गया। अगर कोई चीज कोई मांग रहा है तो उसका जीआई होगा। अगर कोई सोच रहा है कि साहब यहाँ पे 10 साल से खेती हो रही है, 5 साल से खेती हो रही है, ये हमने यहाँ पे गुण को सोठ डाल के बना दिया, इसको, वो जीआई नहीं होगा, क्रिएट नहीं किया जा सकता है। तो अगर मशरूम का आपके, हम लोग देखेंगे उसका इतिहास क्या है, भूगोल क्या है, चीजें क्या है, कितनी पुराना है, कैसे है, तो एकदम हो सकता है। जैसे अभी दरभंगा टेराकोटा को जीआई फाइल हुआ। अभी तक लोग मधुबनी पेंटिंग की बात करते थे, दरभंगा टेराकोटा कोई नहीं जानता था। गया की तिलकुट को सभी लोग जानते हैं, वो भी जीआई फाइल हुआ। तो ये जीआई के लिए जो बेसिक चीज है वो यही है। और हमें लग रहा है कि आने वाले समय में अब आप लोग यहाँ से जाने के बाद और खोज करना शुरू करेंगे, और हमें लग रहा है कि संख्या बढ़ेगी और नाबार्ड की जिम्मेदारी भी बढ़ेगी।
Just one request that this QR code is there for you. Please अपना feedback देते जाएं जाने से पहले.
This is an excellent program, Partho. You have arranged, I think, excellent panelists.
I would like to introduce Mr. Mohanaya,
That's fine.
One of our very distinguished and very popular ex-CGMs of NABARD. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Partho. Though I came for the tomorrow's panel, I thought I would take advantage of it. Your last point, integrating climate resilient agriculture practices for GA product. And just Rajnikant Saab ne bola, it has to have a history. So how do we identify that kind of climate resilient agriculture practices in the country, and how do we get that advantage of GI for those things? And what is the roadmap that NABARD can have about this? How do we create awareness about this agricultural practices, and how do we get the GI for that? रजनीकांत जी या पार्थो,
आप बोले,
आप बताएं, उसके बाद नाबार्ड का रोड मैप बताइए, फिर बाकी कुछ चीजें।
नहीं, as far as NABARD is concerned, we have a framework for identifying. Sir, please, sir.
So the focus is on natural farming, focus is on the sustainable agriculture, and a lot of encouragement is given. But to get the advantage of GI, what needs to be done, how it has to be identified? That is my question.
Sir, as far as the identification of the potential GI products is concerned, we do have a framework, and if it satisfies all the various parameters, we take it as a potential GI product or a process, and then we consult a facilitating agency or an expert for taking that forward. But coming to the question that you have, although I am not an agriculture expert, but then it has been seen that the indigenous varieties that are there, they are more resistant because we have been talking about the climate resilience in agricultural practices. So the indigenous varieties are more resilient to say the vagaries of nature because they have existed and survived in spite of those vagaries of nature over the years. Yes, global farming is a factor which is more pronounced now. Maybe earlier it was not there to that extent, but any kind of pest attacks, because that pests also are linked to that geography. So if they have survived, so they have developed that resilience also. The vagaries of nature, whether it is number of rainfall days or the quantity of rainfall, I mean, they are naturally resilient varieties. That is why their chances of being more climate resilient or surviving in future also are greater.
Yeah, our friend from Arunachal Pradesh has mentioned about the rice there. So similarly, how the farmers can take advantage of this in different areas. So whether there is any plan to identify such of those products and grains or such of those areas where these practices are there, which could be supported through GI.
In fact, sir, this is a challenge that Athina's community has also been facing. So when the demand grows, the farmers are tempted to use, inorganic fertilizers to either increase the yield or move to new geographical locations so that the demand can be met and fulfilled and they can exploit the potential. So that is the challenge. But naturally, if the GI product is grown by the the cultural practices remain the same and the geographical area also is restricted to the traditional areas, I think these problems of quality or not being resilient will not arise. So the challenge is more there. What you are saying is that how will the farmers recognize? It is the community. They obviously know that this is something that has been there. In fact, where the farmers have failed to recognize that, those germ plasms have been lost. We only hear stories that some years back, हमारे दादाजी परदादाजी के टाइम में हमने सुना है कि ये वैरायटी ऑफ चावल थी. But nowadays it is not grown because the productivity was less, the yield was too little, and it was not viable. So they lost. They couldn't appreciate that historical value, and they moved over to new high-yielding varieties. So I think that is the challenge before us.
Sir, हम एक example देके close करेंगे. We have 3 examples. One is the Koraput Kalajira rice, Odisha. Excellent example. One lady is there. She has protected more than 75 landrace variety of the rice in a very traditional manner. And then Koraput Kalajira rice is granted GI tag. The second example is Adi Kakir, Adi ginger, grown by the Adi tribal community in the Arunachal Pradesh. They are working in the shifting cultivation. And the third example is the Adam Chini Chawal of the Mirzapur. Recently it has granted GI. Revival of the 125-year-old variety. And the latest example is in the Andaman and Nicobar, Maya Bandar area is there, 125-year variety Karan Musli rice. Karan is the name of the community who has come 125 years back from the Burma. This was the part of the Bharat. So still they have protected, and 6 plant variety, 6 landrace variety has get the recognition by the ICAR, and they have received the 10 lakh rupees award from the Andaman and Nicobar after several efforts by the scientists of the ICAR. The community, Karen community was not ready to convert in a hybrid. and just before the 2 months before, this rice has granted GI tag. So this is the will of the community also, and the support from the government side. If the government will not pressurize, and you will pay much more amount to the farmers, then the farmers will protect it. Otherwise, if you will not, every time you will talk about the basmati, 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 more than 100 type of the fake basmati is available in the market, and people are purchasing the basmati as a completely the duplicate basmati, and we are forgetting about the landes variety. So this is the manner. We can promote it. Thank you, sir.
I think we can have just one last question. Because we have not announced this, so now I make that announcement. One last question, please.
नमस्कार सर सभी को, मेरा नाम सुनील कुमार चौधरी है और मैं मधुबनी युवा कीर्ति संगम का CEO हूँ सर। सर मेरा एक ये क्वेश्चन है कि एक ही प्रोडक्ट कई जगह बनते हैं, जैसे मधुबनी का सिक्की या सुजनी या फिर लाह की चूड़ी दूसरे तीसरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में भी बनते हैं या फिर दूसरे स्टेट में भी बनते हैं, तो इसका फिर GI दूसरी जगह कैसे हो सकता है?
उसका GI दूसरी जगह नहीं हो सकता है, इसीलिए आपको पहले GI अपने यहाँ करा लेना होगा। अगर आप नहीं कराएंगे तो दूसरा भी अगर हिस्ट्री सबमिट करता है, देखिए GI होने में दो चीजें हैं। हम आपको एग्जांपल दें, आपने चूंकि मधुबनी का, हम उसी की बात कर लेते हैं। अभी दिल्ली में भी कुछ बड़े ट्रेडर अपने वर्क शेड के अंदर में बैठा करके लड़कियों को, जो पेंटिंग में एक्सपर्ट लड़कियां होती हैं, उनको दिल्ली में बैठा करके अब पेंटिंग बनवाते हैं मधुबनी, और दिल्ली के पास मार्केट में, खान मार्केट जैसी एरिया में बहुत महंगे दाम पे ही बेच देते हैं। हमने जब उस जगह को विजिट किया, पूछा, तो लड़कियों ने कहा कि 500 रुपये एक दिन का मिलता है, और उसके हाथ की बनाई हुई पेंटिंग वहीं खान मार्केट में 5000 रुपये की है। ये कंप्लीटली इलीगल है। मधुबनी का जब GI हुआ था तो मधुबनी की जो मिथिला की जो एरिया है उस जोग्राफिकल इंडिकेशन में वो ऑलरेडी रजिस्टर हो चुका है। अब ये सवाल उठता है कि ये वायलेशन हो रहा है, कानून का उल्लंघन हो रहा है। दिल्ली में तो बन ही नहीं सकता है, बिहार में भी सासाराम, मोहनिया, भभुआ, रोहतास में भी नहीं बन सकता है। वो तो मिथिला रीजन की पेंटिंग है, एक ही जगह पेंटिंग है, आप पटना में भी नहीं बना सकते हैं। यही काम सरकार के विभाग का है। दिस इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट। इन्फ्रिंजमेंट, कानून का अगर उल्लंघन हो रहा है तो रोकने का काम सरकार के विभाग का है, वो आर्टिजन नहीं रोक पाएगा। और जब आप 2-4 इन्फ्रिंजमेंट के केस फाइल करेंगे, जब कोर्ट से जुर्माना लगेगा, पेनाल्टी लगेगी, फाइन होगा, यहां तक कि जेल जाने का भी प्रोविजन है, तब जाकर के रुकेगा। नहीं तो अगर गवर्नमेंट इन्वॉल्व नहीं होगी इन्फ्रिंजमेंट में, और GI के कानून में जब GI गजट नोटिफिकेशन होता है तो देयर इज ए क्लॉज इंस्पेक्शन बॉडी। किसी भी GI में अगर इंस्पेक्शन बॉडी नहीं है तो GI ग्रांटी नहीं हो सकता है। और इंस्पेक्शन बॉडी में 6-7 डिपार्टमेंट के नाम होते हैं, लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेट क्या है कि आफ्टर ग्रांटिंग द GI देयर इज नॉट अ सिंगल इंस्पेक्शन बॉडी इन द कंट्री। अभी करण थापर साहब चले गए, नहीं तो हम उनके सामने इस बात को रखते कि भाई DPIIT एक गवर्नमेंट ऑर्डर जारी करो कि जितने GI हो गए वहां पे इंस्पेक्शन बॉडी कंस्टिट्यूट करिए, और उसमें रूल है द रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ द डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन विल बी इन्वॉल्व। तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर चेयरमैन हो जाएगा, आप बना दो उसको। वहां पे 2-4 इन्फ्रिंजमेंट का केस जहां आपने पकड़ा, लोग वैसे भी गलत नहीं करेंगे। भारत में कानून को मांगने वाले ज्यादा लोग हैं, वो नहीं करने वाले हैं। आप पेंटिंग बोल के बेच सकते हैं, मधुबनी पेंटिंग नहीं कह सकते हैं। शब्द आ गया पेंटिंग, रिटेन में कहीं आप लिख नहीं सकते मधुबनी उस एरिया के अलावा। तो यही है उसका तरीका इन्फ्रिंजमेंट का, और वो उसके लिए अवेयरनेस होना पहले जरूरी है। हम दंड देने की बात करेंगे, उसको मालूम ही नहीं है, वो बोल रहा है दिल्ली में हमको तो मालूम ही नहीं है। जैसे दिल्ली में बैठ के लोग फुलकारी बना रहे हैं, बोलते साहब वो तो हमको मालूम ही नहीं, हम तो दिल्ली में बना रहे हैं, हम भी फुलकारी बेचते हैं, जबकि फुलकारी पंजाब, हरियाणा, राजस्थान, इस 3 स्टेट को ज्वाइंट मिला, दिल्ली में बन ही नहीं सकता है, लेकिन यहाँ बना रहे हैं। और अनफॉर्चुनेट क्या है, गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट फुलकारी की ट्रेनिंग के लिए ग्रांट दे रहा है दिल्ली में। ये अनफॉर्चुनेट है, गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट की बात बोल रहे हैं, दिल्ली में फुलकारी की ट्रेनिंग के लिए ग्रांट दे रहा है। उसको पहले ही बोलना चाहिए भाई कि हाँ तो रिप्रोड्यूस नहीं हो सकता है। जीआई को आप रिप्रोड्यूस नहीं कर सकते हैं जोग्राफिकल एरिया के बाहर, तो रोकने का ही तरीका होगा।
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
बहुत धन्यवाद।
I think the cultural program has started and many of the audience are waiting to go over there. And Kamini there is giving me an evil look. So I'll hand over to you, Kamini.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's take a moment to thank our distinguished moderator, Mr. Saha, for steering this insightful discussion with such precision and depth. A big round of applause for him. The audience members are requested to scan the QR code displayed on the standees to your left as well as right. Kindly provide your feedback. It is very valuable to us. Further, don't forget to scan the QR codes displayed across the venue for providing your helpful feedback and insights on the overall event as well as for participating in the quiz ग्रामीण भारत को जानो। अब समय आ गया है कि हम अपने सभी माननीय स्पीकर्स और पैनलिस्ट को एक छोटी सी भेंट के रूप में अपनी कृतज्ञता व्यक्त करें। May I now request our moderator to kindly present a memento to our esteemed speakers and panelists. Yes, sir. Let's show our gratitude with a big round of applause for our panelists. जब तक हमारे मॉडरेटर सभी माननीय स्पीकर्स और पैनलिस्ट को मेमेंटो प्रदान कर रहे हैं, मैं आप सभी को इस मेमेंटो के बारे में कुछ बताना चाहूँगी। Today's memento is an ornate papier-mâché tray. It is an ultimate example of the unmatched talent and skill of Kashmiri artisans. It showcases intricate hand-painted designs that reflect their beautiful legacy of art. In 2011, this vibrant art form was honored with the GI tag by the Government of India. Kindly provide the memento. A big round of applause for all the eminent panelists on the stage. आइए हमारे पैनलिस्ट के अमूल्य योगदान के लिए ताली बजाकर उनको सम्मानित करें।